I don't know. I also don't know where that PC went. Oh no, it would have been like a 4th Gen i5, I think. And a 4th Gen i5 was better than the 9100F. Everything. Literally everything.
4th Gen i5, that'd be 4-core, 4-thread as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and the i3 was 4 cores, 4 threads.
Don't know. I'd want to see more testing. Hello, everyone, by the way.
So,
I'd want to see more testing on that before I sort of...
I was
it's not that
so disappointed in that upgrade for that machine. It was just like everything I was using it for. The i5 was just as good or better. And I was like, oh.
I don't want to say that I don't believe you, but I think something was wrong there.
Yeah.
I cannot possibly believe that the 9100F would not be able to outperform a...
The i5 could run faster RAM, could run at a higher TDP, etc. So it was just a case of I got a lot more clocks, I had better RAM and stuff like that. So it was a case of I was wondering if my use case just managed to sit right on that line where like that limitation on RAM speed and stuff really hurt it.
Yeah, just the combination of clock, RAM, etc. was just, maybe.
It was just, weird. And then I went to a 2700X and I was just like, fast computers again.
Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? I was just, we were discussing one of Caradog's previous work PCs, and I was just like, well, it's time, so I'm just going to hit go live because it's about that time, right, chaps? So yes.
Fucking kangaroos.
Yes. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? And it's people approve of the mutton chops. Yeah, we've got 70s Caradoge, we've got 1870s Caradoge, and
it's fine. The framing just looked completely off for a second because of looking physically at the camera.
Yeah.
But then I looked at the actual output from a camera. I was like, oh no, that's fine. We've just, instead of having wall, we have us.
Yes. Yes, this is true.
Also, the worst part is about the facial hair discussion is we could take that and just stick that there, and it fits in the hole.
I was at a convention, and there was a chap there. Was he staff or just an attendee? I can't remember. But there was a chap there that had sort of a full face beard, sort of like mutton chops, but much thicker and bristlier. But like the mutton chops, you've sort of cut them off like down the side, the lines of the mouth, kind of thing. His one came right the way in to where my beard would have been. So literally, they would have interlocked. And everyone's just like, you guys have to kiss right now. And I'm like, no, but also that would be really, really funny, you know? So yeah. Do you kids hold your drink by the bottleneck so you don't warm the drink? I'm holding it by the bottleneck just because...
because you're holding the flappy bit?
I'm holding the flappy bit back. Yeah, that's why. Because otherwise you do that and it bonks you on the glasses, and then it leaves a spot on your glasses, and then you have to put it down, take off your glasses and clean your glasses, and you still haven't had a drink, and just the day's going...
The worst part is you're cleaning your glasses with your t-shirt. Yeah,
well, it's good enough. It's good enough for Australia.
Then again, I've seen your cleaning cloths.
Anyway, hello everyone, how are we all doing? Turn the bottle 90 degrees. Well, I guess, but then it's going to touch your cheek, and then it puts a spot on your cheek, and you're like, you know, or I could just hold it by the neck and hold it back. What's the problem, man? Why you got to be up in my grill about how I hold a bottle? Why you got to be like this? Why are we having this discussion? Anyway, right. All at work, get the cider out. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if we've got any today, actually. No, we don't, do we? I took my cider home.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, there is no cider today. We're going to be healthy and drink non-alcoholic drinks. I was going to say we're going to be healthy and drink coffee, but dubious. Anyway, yes. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Okay. So today we're having a bit of a waffle. Today we didn't have anything specific lined up, so we're having a bit of a waffle. This is the streaming rig. It's not streaming at the moment. The Lianli is doing the streaming today. So this is the normal streaming rig. So we rebuilt this. Was it before Christmas or after Christmas?
I don't actually
How
remember.
long have we had the Maximus in here now?
I don't actually remember.
Yeah, like it feels like we haven't had the Maximus in the. This has got a Maximus 9 and a 7700K in it, and it feels like it hasn't been in there very long. But I've got a feeling that it was before Christmas, and suddenly it's a matter of, oh wow, this has been in here for more than 6 months now. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the question I asked before we started was a case of how's it been.
Yeah.
And you went, I have nothing to report.
Yeah.
Which is arguably the best answer.
That's right. We were swapping stuff out because the old kit that was in there is actually what's in the test rig up here now was a 4790K, and I was having USB problems with that where the stream rig has lots of USB plugged into the back of it. I was having issues with devices not detecting properly and the cameras flickering and stuff like that. However, since upgrading to this, just all of those problems just evaporated. So clearly it's doing its job. However, also at the same time, when we put this platform in here, I said I kind of want to put it in a different case just because this case is getting a bit old now. And, like, this case was really great when I got it, and I've loved it to bits, but it's getting a bit old. I've got the itch for something different, but also, more importantly, the top USB ports are worn out, and I can't be bothered to replace them. So I was kind of had the itch to put this in a new case anyway. And now, since we got the Lianli X1000 for this machine, I now have a spare Corsair 220T. So we're going to put all of that in this one instead, because this one it's got a nice tempered glass side panel, it's got the RGB, it's an airflow case and stuff like that. It's just slightly better than this Corsair Carbide 400C all around. Yeah, so we're going to swap all of that into there, and then I'm going to tinker with the RGB on it and stuff like that. So we're going to do that, and we're just going to waffle about whatever takes our fancy. No notification that we're live. YouTube will get it in a minute, I'm sure.
Also, is the bot supposed to post when we go live?
It's supposed to. Has the bot not fired then?
I don't know. That was my question.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, it is supposed to fire, and yes, it has.
Okay, good. Yeah,
that's fine. It was only because it hasn't. Oh yes, you turned it off from posting when you cue the video, but left it doing it when it goes live.
Yeah. Very
well.
It
now also no longer does it when the stream ends and the VOD becomes a VOD.
Yes, because
Hi, would you like 4 notifications for the same video?
Yeah. Do you want people to mute your bot? Because that's how you get people to mute your bot. Yeah. Good. On that note, actually, we need to, I need to actually set up the role. So if people actually want to get pinged by the bot, they can get pinged, because it pings a role, just no one has that role at the moment.
Yes, because you created a new role that wasn't the role that was the notification role, which I had manually added people to, and thus confused me.
Okay, but we'll sort that out anyway. Right. Yes. So anyway, I'm going to shut this down and we'll start taking it apart. And I'll do the work. And I think I'm going to put you in charge of chat today while we do stuff. So I'll give you that. And you're in charge of the unwashed masses.
Absolutely.
While I start working on this. So I'm just going to shut this down. Then I'll move it aside and give you some more space. Right. Oh yeah, these fans are purely here because I'm not sure if the RGB on them works, and the 220T actually has a Corsair RGB controller in it, so I can test the RGB on these fans to see if it works. So that's going to be done as well. Good. All right.
Yes.
Unplug all of that.
I do feel like the situation with YouTube notifications, that's an entirely different conversation.
Concern.
Notifications is all to do, again, with people having 4,000 channels subscribed.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think that exasperates it, because that means, like, again, this is the issue of whether YouTube actually sends you a notification or not, because, if this is the problem, if you have subscribed and rung the bell on, 300 YouTube channels, like YouTube's not going to notify you on all of those because it'd be sending you push notifications every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. It's the thing that annoys me.
Stop over subscribing.
Yeah, it's the thing that annoys me in Discord. And I think they've changed it recently. But it used to be the case that it was impossible to get notifications to work properly on servers over a certain number of people. Because they would automatically disable and give you no way to override the option to have notifications for every message in a channel.
Yeah.
But that's now an option again. It appears you can actually properly override that.
Yeah.
Because in a server, even if there's 55,000 people in there, there might be 2 or 3 channels that I want notifications on every single message in those channels.
Yeah.
And that wasn't something you could set for a really long time for some reason.
Maybe there was some kind of optimization bottleneck there where, because if there's that many people and you've got notifications turned on, there's obviously a chance that it's going to generate a crap ton of traffic and notifications and CPU cycles for the servers and so on.
Yeah.
And they were just like, we can't do that because it would be too easy to overload the servers.
Yeah.
Whereas now they've probably managed to optimize it to the point where that would no longer overload the servers, or they just have the capacity to tank it.
Yeah, and also the other thing as well is they've introduced a new feature called highlights or something like that as a notification mode. I've no idea how it works. Apparently it's in beta. I have it. I don't have it turned on for anything I'm in.
Yeah, can you bench cam? That'll be bench cam inverted. You want?
There we go. So yeah, I don't have it turned on for anything, but I noticed it was a thing. But yes, I feel like I'm in the super minority where if I'm in a server, I want notifications for every message unless I've explicitly muted. Like, if I don't want notifications for something, I also don't want it to tell me the channel's not read. Kind of thing, which is why I then mute a channel.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I usually have most things muted and muted, but it will still show me unread messages.
Notifications off.
Yeah, notifications off. But yeah, and then so for example, the admin IT server, I check every room every time there's unread messages there. Like if there's been a whole conversation, when I come in the morning, I'm just going to scroll to the bottom of it. I'm not going to back read the messages.
Yeah.
But I will update every room. However, servers where I
scan it.
Yeah, servers where I don't hang out, I just mute the server because if I have no intention of checking that server, then I don't want it to just be flagging as unread kind of thing. But I do know other people who will read every message of every room of every server they're in. And then it's just a case of if there's too many of them, then they just leave some servers, which arguably is how you should do it. You know,
I read.
If you're not reading the server, then why are you even there?
Yeah.
There's a follow-up to that, but I'll let you carry on.
I read probably 90% of the messages in the servers I'm in. Like, there are certain channels where I'm just like, I'm not fussed about this. It's bot spam. I'm obviously not going to read that.
Yeah.
It's go live notifications for random other people who are also in that server. I don't care. If I cared about your go live notifications, I'd probably be following you on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, etc. But yeah, the majority of stuff. But I won't read it as though I'm an active participant in the conversation. A lot of it I will go through and go, do I need to reply to this? No, fine. Everyone's behaving themselves. End conversation, cool.
Yeah.
And like that, because I don't know, I skim read the majority of servers I'm in as though I'm a moderator for it, even if I'm not, just because it's a case of, unless I'm actively there at the time the conversation is going on, it doesn't particularly matter what's happening.
Yeah.
Other than just being aware of things that are happening, unless it's a thing that's going to get referenced by the community, kind of thing. Because sometimes you notice when a thing is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, that's going to be a thing. I need to be aware of context.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, I'm aware of context. Now when that thing comes up, I can be like,
I'll know what they're talking about. Memes.
Social inclusivity.
Yeah. I feel part of this moment, even though I wasn't actually involved in its conception.
Absolutely. Nope, we're not going there.
Sad Pepe.
This is a polite channel where there are no discussions of such things. Anyway, sorry, you were saying there was a follow-up to not leaving servers that you don't read.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say the reason why I sit in a lot of servers muted is just purely because it means that so long as people can see that I'm in that server, it means that people could ping me. So if something came up that was relevant to that server, like if someone was asking about me, someone else could say, "Oh, they're in this server," and ping me, and so I would then get a ping from that server, knowing that someone is trying to talk to me there, kind of thing. So it makes me visible and available. Even though I don't actually read the server, it just means that people have the ability to ping me and just say, "Oh, hey, so and so was asking a question," which doesn't happen very often, but it does come up now and then. Every couple of days, a server that I have muted will pop up with a ping notification, and now and then it'll be because someone is actually trying to get hold of me. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, hello, yes, I am here.
I do exist."
Yeah,
shockingly.
Yeah.
So, David Hostbo. Hot take: Discord alt account system is just a tool for server brigading. I don't understand the alt system.
Before we progress, what is server brigading?
I don't know either specifically. I was going to cycle onto that, but I was going to add just my 2 cents on that. Is I don't understand the multiple accounts thing in Discord thing, except for small circumstances where you're a server owner and you want to be in the server but not on the server owner account, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to operate on your admin account.
Yeah.
But also I feel like, I don't know if it counts as a second user on a single user sign-in. So if I compromise that sign-in, both are signed in.
That's exactly it.
Or if it counts as 2 separate sign-ins with separate 2FA and passwords and so on. Because if it does, then that's great. Make it easy to switch between the two, like YouTube does.
Yeah.
But still requires... No, YouTube doesn't require separate sign-in. Yeah, no. Yeah. So I don't particularly follow it, to me, because I'd want them to be separate sign-ins.
Yeah, and
also, the reason I'm using separate accounts is because I want them to be separated.
And given Discord's track record for security...
well, it's not Discord's track record for security. It's users of Discord's track record.
In that case, a lot of people are telling fibs, because there's a lot of people whose accounts have been compromised, and they have sworn blind that they have 2FA turned on, which theoretically should mean that the account cannot be compromised.
Oh no, absolutely. But most of the times when they're compromised, it's because it said scan this QR code to win 15 Bitcoin, and they scan the QR code.
But surely 2FA should prevent that from happening.
Because it specifically says this will sign you in and skip the 2FA. It specifically says that, and it specifically warns you before you scan the QR code.
See, I would define that as terrible security in that case. And don't get me wrong, people scanning codes they shouldn't do and people clicking on links they shouldn't do is dumb and their fault.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Discord knows this is happening, and it's a case of, what's the point in 2FA if you're never going to require people to use it? Like, because of the QR code system, I can sign into Discord again and again and again on all manner of different computers and never have to 2FA.
Yeah.
So why do I even have 2FA? What's the point of it if you're never going to require me to use it?
Yeah, because arguably the point, the second factor is the phone. The second factor is the phone. Yes, because it is 2-factor authentication.
But I haven't needed to type in a password, so I've only used 1 factor at that point.
But the device is used as a token of trust. Because you control the device.
Yeah.
Because it's something you have, something you are, something you know, etc., etc., etc. I can't remember all the things. Teltac will scream at me in a second. It's fine. I see you there in the chat, Teltac.
Yeah.
I see the Teltac is typing.
Yeah. See,
you already had to authenticate the device with your multi-factor sign-in. Therefore, the device is a trusted device.
Yeah. See, I understand that.
Yeah.
However, clearly there is a problem because people keep getting owned, which means there needs to be additional protections, or they need to change. Like, I'm not saying that it's Discord's fault, but there is clearly a problem.
Yes. I think that's
when we are acknowledging that there is a problem, fault is not relevant. The fact is that there is a problem with Discord's security.
Yes, and I think again.
Okay. Yes.
there isn't a problem with their security.
Yeah.
I can agree with the statement there is a problem with their process.
Yeah.
But their security isn't the problem specifically. Yeah. Because it's a semantic, but it's an important semantic because we're because we're also vicariously assigning liability.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if someone keeps banging their head on the door frame, there comes a time when it's a case of, yes, the person should probably duck as they go through that door frame, but also you could stick some padding up there.
But they'd still be banging their head on the door frame.
But if you put some padding there, you mitigate the damage.
I would contend that the damage has already occurred if they keep doing it. But also I'm being intentionally obtuse.
Yes, you are.
Yes, it is that balancing act of what is usable.
You get the concept,
It's that balancing act of usability versus security.
Yeah.
And it's that thing, it's like Facebook will accept your password with caps lock on. So if you've got caps lock on and you type your password, it will accept it.
It's not your fucking password then, is it?
So? It's only reduced the number of permutations by 1. But the number of permutations that would be in there are x to the 19 kind of thing.
See, yeah, this is a really good counterpoint, because for me, I'm just like, no, that's user stupidity. But on the flip side, if people keep forgetting that caps lock is on and it only slightly weakens security by an insignificant amount, and clearly it must be insignificant if Facebook deems it acceptable, then
I'm sure Teltac can tell me the name of Facebook's ex-chief of security, who was the one who was talking about this.
Yeah.
Because he is very well respected as actually being competent actually doing things that are sensible and telling Facebook, no, this is dumb, we're not doing this.
Yeah, like if the research says that's acceptable, then I'll trust the researchers because they know an awful lot more about it than I do. But
I had exactly the same reaction, because they will accept the password if it's caps lock on,
at that point,
shift the wrong way round, etc.
Yeah, because at that point that's now a partial match, not an actual match.
Well, no, because it requires a complete match. But obviously, when they hash it, they just hash with caps on, with caps off.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yeah, it's just kind of that stuff. But yes, the comment is use password managers.
Yeah.
Use password managers, use randomly generated passwords for each account.
Oh, for reals, yeah.
Etc., etc. And also, the other thing with password managers is not even a selling point of the security, is the convenience. Now you no longer need to remember a password. Now it autofills every time you go to sign in.
Yeah.
That, to me, is a massive selling point for a huge number of people.
Yeah.
I don't, it's like when I forcibly migrated a couple of older people to using password managers. I did it because I was like, now you never have to remember what the password is. You remember this single password. You write this single password down. You keep it not with the laptop, you're golden.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting better now as well. iCloud Keychain from Apple has brought password managers to the masses. Being of the fact of and Google,
I have to live with Apple's implementation of so much stuff on this.
Yeah.
Horrific. It's awful.
It was awful.
And you know what you were saying about being really annoyed by there being certain iOS notifications that just take over the phone and force you to interact with it?
Yeah.
You know how Apple said, our devices are so easy to use because the home button always takes you home? Do you know what it doesn't do? Always take you home.
Yeah.
Also, I realise I'm probably clipping.
Yeah.
But yes.
Caradog is getting spirited again. Calm down, dear. It's just a commercial. Yeah.
But yes, it's just the fact of... and it's the fact they use this forced control, no, you may not do anything but acknowledge this notification, for things like your battery is at 20%.
Yeah. It trains people just to blindly smash, yes, yes, go away, leave me alone, which is bad. Something, that's what happened to UAC.
Yeah. But it's like, if I get a similar notification on an Android, I go swipe home, and it stays there in my recents, I can swipe back to it and deal with it when I want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that to me seems like a massively better solution.
Yeah.
Also, just the fact of notifications on iOS are garbage.
Yeah. Does iOS have real notifications?
No. Yes. No. Other. So, it's got this.
Yeah.
And like, so I want to read these. I can read these. But I go, okay, I'm dealt with these. I can clear all of those. But oh, look, Discord's just popped up new notifications. Because some of them weren't notifications. They were other forms of notifications. But these ones, I can only clear one at a time.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, no. I have selected show notifications. I want notifications, one after the other. A nice little list.
Yeah.
See? It's almost like I go, oh, I don't want this one notification. Goodbye. Oh, actually, I did want that one. Notification history. Restore.
Yeah.
Anyway. I don't know. Having used that iPhone is a second phone, significantly more solidly for the past couple of months. I'm just like, oh boy.
Yeah.
So much of this stuff is just grating to my workflow.
Yeah. I think it makes sense for the masses. But again, it kind of solidifies the issue that Apple devices are not power user devices, which runs contrary to their price tag.
Although,
arguably.
Yeah. Although, at the same time, this phone was £200? No,
True.
sorry, £400.
True.
It's £400.
That's what, the 2018
the 2020 SE.
2020 SE,
yeah. And I'm like, that's actually a really good iPhone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're good devices, don't get me wrong. You know, at the end
but
of the
also
day,
at the same...
when my partner said, oh, I'm getting an iPhone, I'm just like, okay. You know, like that requires you to switch away from Android and stuff like that. But it's like, you know, she's not going to go wrong with an iPhone. If someone says, I'm buying an iPhone, you're not going to say, no, wait, stop, don't do that. You're going to be like, sure thing. It'll be great. It'll do exactly what you need it to do.
Yeah, I think every time when someone who is on an iPhone swaps to Android or is on Android and says they want to swap the other way, I say, are you certain? You know, there will be a change.
Yeah.
Are you willing to put in the couple of weeks of effort to actually make the transition?
Yeah. Well, she was coming from Samsung, so anything would be better. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's kind of just a point of
Zing.
pre-warning people, but just saying, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Don't forget it's going to be effort to
Yeah.
get it to the same place of speed of use because you knew how every single bit worked on the other system and it's different now.
Yeah.
So just kind of, I kind of prep people for going, you're going to have to put effort in.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, because while I don't deal with phones very often, obviously I get the same deal when someone turns around and says, I have a Mac and I want to switch back to Windows or vice versa. I'm like, sure, it's going to be different. You will need to learn a new system. However, I'm sure it'll work out great, you know.
Are you taking the AIO?
No, because it's a 140 mil. And we need
a 140?
Yeah.
There are two fans on it. It's a 280.
It's a 280. Okay. 140 millimeter class.
I thought for a second, though, that
140 millimeters wide. Don't you look down there? It is.
Ish.
I'll get the calipers out. No, I'm not taking the EIEIO. It's staying in there. We have got a 120 mil. I need to take it out at some point, actually, because I kind of want to put it in the Lianli. Because, like, the Noctua is cool, but it's too big, man. I don't like it.
Okay. You're wrong, but okay.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm hurting your feelings whenever I'm just like, I don't like Noctua, you know? So, man, this is such a cool motherboard. I feel like, I don't know. Do you reckon this is more focused than the Crosshair is for its time?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I haven't lived with it.
Yeah. But that much being said, it has a lot. It shares a lot of the like annoying bits of the crosshair that we don't like having the plastic around the BIOS code readout and stuff like that, so, which just makes it difficult to see from odd angles and that kind of thing. So it's just, yeah, don't know. I do like the rear I/O on it though.
Yeah.
Just a solid block of 8 USB ports. That's very tasty. All right, that can go over there for a sec.
It's the thing that still makes me somewhat sad, though, is that we're here, 2022, USB 3 is how many years old? And it's still a case of it's like an awful lot of motherboard. It's like, oh yes, we have 4 high-speed USB. Okay, what speed are they? 5 gigabit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, but also no.
I mean, that's down to trace routing through the board, I think. And I think the issue is that I think if you actually want to get full fat, like 10 gig USB to every single port, that creates an absolute mess of trace routing through the board. And it would mean that all of the boards have to be like 8 or 10 layer PCBs just to do that for something that most people won't matter to the vast majority of people. So in a way, I agree, but also I kind of understand why it's not like that. Although I feel like it's not asking much to, I don't know, like
certainly for the Z something chipsets and the X something chipsets.
Because the problem is, the USB controller's in the bottom right and the USB ports are in the top left. You literally have to go from one side of the board to the other diagonally. It's a horrifying, like. My question is then, why don't you just put the USB controller there? Well, yeah, like the problem is that requires a discrete USB controller, but it's a question of, I don't know, would that be easier? This board's probably already running one. Maybe. It's probably already running a discrete USB controller. Yeah, don't know. I'd be surprised if it is, to be honest, because it's Intel. If it were AMD, I wouldn't be surprised, because AMD were using discrete USB for a long time. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to keep going. Although it is the thing I'm liking with the X670E is the fact of, they're pushing more faster I/O and stuff like that across everything. Yeah. And it's just, it's nice to see that they're actually pushing that. So, because USB supports 20 gigabit, but it's a case of most people only have a single port for that. Yeah. So hardware isn't going to exist that supports it because people only have one port. It's like the Type-C thing. I was just kind of looking at like, we should be having motherboards with stack of 4 Type-C on them by now. We are starting to see more hardware where it would actually be useful as well. Like, external SSDs are now becoming very affordable. It's now quite common for people to have an external SSD to use as their portable drive. And, so as such, they're going to be like, well, yeah, I'd like to plug that into a Type-C port and get, and so it can actually do burst transfer speeds of 7 gigs per second, Yeah. Also a case of you could do that over a Type-A, because obviously Type-A support 20 gigabit as well. Oh, yeah, yeah. But it's just a case of like, the connector, the Type-C connector being on more stuff would be aided by having a second Type-C port. And stuff like that. So it's like this board's got 1, and this is 7th gen, which will be, what, 6 years old? Something like that, guessing. Yeah. 5, 6 years old, and it's a case of 5, 6 years later, we still haven't adopted more of that USB port. Yeah, like the X570 Strixes that I've got in this shop have got no more rear I/O than that board does. Well, they've got less. They've got 2 USB ports fewer. Oh yeah. Them. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's 7.1 or 7.5 because of the Type-C. Yeah. And yeah. It does bother me that doesn't have more USBs. But it's also the case though that I was thinking about it because I looked at the back of my computer and it's like if you took out the fact that I have 2 capture cards over USB. That's it. Who actually needs that? I would be down to only having 1 USB plugged in. Yeah.
kind of thing. If I didn't have 2 capture cards and a separate USB audio interface and a separate USB microphone again on top of that,
yeah,
I'd be down to a single USB into my computer.
Yeah, it's the same as earlier on. Earlier on we were talking about PCI Express bifurcation and stuff and such like, and you said how X670 is going to have good bifurcation, or your X570S has good bifurcation. You threw out the hot take that motherboard should have just one M.2 connector going to the CPU, and everything else should all be on a PCI Express expansion card. So then you can run everything else to an expansion slot. And if you want a million M.2 drives in your computer, you stick a card in with 4 of them on board,
or 8 of them potentially.
Yeah, I don't think that was an outrageous statement to make. But this is the thing, and because I jumped off of that by saying, it sucks that most of the cool tricks of PCI Express aren't in consumer hardware. So what's the point of it if we don't have it? But then the problem then arises that the vast majority of people don't need it. So why would you potentially make something more expensive for features that people don't need?
Yeah, but it's also kind of a case of surely adding more M.2 slots makes it more expensive for features people don't need.
This is true, yeah.
Kind of thing. So it's like, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And I don't know, from my perspective, it's just the fact of having 2 on there makes sense. So you can have 2 terabytes of flash storage for a total expenditure of 150 quid or something.
That's right, yeah.
And that can give you 2 terabytes of storage. Nice, easy, done.
Yeah, because also, especially for first-time builders, building with a 1 terabyte M.2 and then adding another M.2 later on down the line for more storage is a very logical way to build right now. Start off with a cheap 1 terabyte SSD and then add in another one later on and just shuffle them around. So the fastest one is Windows and the other one is for games, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think 2 slots makes the most sense.
Yeah.
However, where so many boards now are boasting having 3 and 4, and like I said too earlier on, I'm just like, why do you want that many M.2s on your board? You should be consolidating at that point.
But it's also like X670 boards and Z690 boards boasting that they're going to have like 6 M.2s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like who has 6 M.2s in their computer
and it's
in a useful implementation, and not just because you're one of those people that has half a dozen 250 gig SSDs.
It's kind of, I get it. I get it from the point of view of, obviously, we're replacing SATA with NVMe drives. I get that. But it's kind of a case of the SATA ports are still there on the board as well, most of the time. So you haven't replaced them.
Yeah.
But it's also the case of, it's like a single add-in card into an X16 slot, which supports 4 M.2s, feels like a better use of those lanes. Just because if I don't need that storage, but I do want those lanes for 2 capture cards, I've now got those lanes for capture cards.
It also frees up a huge amount of physical space on the motherboard as well, because like M.2 cards use a lot of motherboard real estate, all things considered.
Effectively, yeah.
And yeah, I think they waste a lot of space with all of these ports that the majority of people probably won't use.
I would imagine, at least part of the reason why that Crosshair 8 thingy is quite the size it is because it's got 5, I think.
5, bloody hell, yeah.
So it's a case of an awful lot of space is used up just by having those connectors on the board.
Yeah.
Whereas you would arguably free that all up by having it coming out vertically on a riser in a
PCI Express slot.
From an actual PCI Express slot.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's also, kind of a case of, you look at this as well and just kind of go, yeah, but how many of these are actually useful? The by 16 physical size slots are actually useful. Because it's like, arguably, these 2 are too close together.
Yeah.
And then that one is definitely going to be a chipset one. And it's a by 4.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, no, it's a by 8. Interesting. It's a by 8, but it's still a case of, it's like, but now it has to go through the chipset. And it's kind of a case of, well, if we just dropped this one and split that one, had two direct to the CPU, but basically there and there, the layout would actually then make this one useful.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, I don't know, lots of the choice
That's coming
layouts.
from the fact that graphics cards are thick boys now, and the slot spacing
and they have been since 7th gen.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But they just haven't seemed to have updated the slot spacing to reflect that.
But it's also the case of, even if this were, even if it were only a 2.15 slot GPU, it would mean that this by one wouldn't be usable anyway if you had a GPU installed. And then the one next to it is going to be impinging airflow on the other one, especially if it's kicking out any reasonable amount of heat. So it's just kind of a lot of the layout options, as a layperson, seem to not facilitate the high-end uses that they infer that they're for.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm in the boring zone of just cable sorting at the moment, where I've just got to reorder all of these cables. Okay.
All of these cables.
It's there. There's my CPU.
HH. Oh yeah, the case comes with a built-in little RGB hub, doesn't it?
It does. Yep. That's one of the things I love so much about the Corsair 220T. It's a really nice compact ATX that comes with 3 RGB fans and a controller that interfaces with iCUE. You know, this is astonishingly good bang for buck, this case. You know, it's one of the reasons, you know, for ages this has been one of my go-to cases, because it's actually very difficult to find something that is meaningfully better value, assuming that RGB is something that interests you. You know, if you're not interested in RGB, then, but then even still, you know.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'd buy a 4000D Airflow over one of these, just because they're fractionally cheaper, and I guess that supply on these is starting to dry up.
Possibly, yeah.
So yeah, based purely off of Amazon pricing, because...
I do wish... Remember last year when the 220T dropped to £40?
Did it?
Yeah.
I thought it was slightly more than that. But
well,
yeah,
£43.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like 60 quid.
It was the low 40s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Chris and I were just like, we were watching it on Amazon going lower and lower and lower, and we were like, what is happening? And I bought
there was a story about that.
Yeah. Tell me about that in a sec then, because I bought a couple of them, but to this day I'm just like, I thought that it was just going to just dropping down, but part of me just wishes I bought like just 10 of them, because you just double your money.
Yeah.
Invest 400, get 800 back. You know. Yeah. But yeah, what's the story behind that then? What happened?
There was a comment from somewhere that they were ones that were incorrectly supplied.
What does that mean?
In the sense of duties, wages, payments, etc., were not made on them, and that's why the price was low. Because apparently, parts of the normal costs weren't paid for reasons. Apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Huh. Very odd.
So yeah. I can't remember exactly what the details were, but something like that. I think obviously during the first
lockdown.
No, during the lockdowns. Sorry, there were all of the stories about like GPU raids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember the stories of, but don't actually remember occurrences of, because I was far too young. In the early 90s, where people like broke into offices and stole just the CPUs.
Oh yeah.
Out of the cases.
Yeah.
But yes.
That was annoyingly common in colleges. You know, most tech colleges, like for example, I went to Farnborough College of Technology, and there were a couple of computers there that they weren't super new, but they were still useful kind of thing, that were there, and they were designed so the computer tech students had computers that could be disassembled and assembled for practice and stuff like that. And I know on those ones, you know, at least at one point, just all of the RAM disappeared out of them. And obviously, you know, the teachers were furious because they were just like, well, good job, guys. Someone nicked all the RAM. Now these things don't run because there's no RAM.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I ain't putting new RAM in there. So whoever stole it, good job. Now we don't have practice computers anymore, you know. And just, it was a bummer. Yeah, so it happens.
Absolutely. I know. Just to quickly flick back. I'm sure Caradog has an absolutely insane PC setup. It is sane to some.
Everything is relative, yeah.
Everything is relative.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but... yeah. Because, like, you know, like the test bench that's just off camera down here, you know, with the Crosshair motherboard and the 5950X and the 3090 Founds edition, that's the spare rig. That's the spare. That's just for testing, you know, messing around with, you know. So
I've got good prices on it. That's what you do, isn't it?
As you do, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, at least I'm not saying to people, "Oh yeah, I'll build you new computers and then supply them with secondhand parts," or or going, "Oh yeah, it's a high-end gaming PC.
Yeah,
at 8 gigahertz. Excuse me, because it has 4 cores at 2 gigahertz.
High Venoscorp, yeah. Yeah.
So yes.
Also, I'm just going to head off any comments now. Every now and then there's a comment that accuses me of bragging about, you know, that I always have to mention about that I have a 3080 Ti, and someone's just like, we get it, you don't have to brag about it. And I'm like, I say it to add context to the conversation. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, not bragging. I'm joking. Like I'm joking with the things and the stuff and things. This is just what Caradog spends his money on. The money that Caradog has, he spends on computer hardware. That's just what he does.
See,
some people spend an awful lot more on a tin box shed of a car.
Yeah. I mean, I am benefited by not having a car and just stealing other people's cars.
Exactly that. Like, just straight away, that saves you a considerable amount of money because you're not paying the overheads and costs on a car.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
exactly.
know, there's a lot of people out there who own cars that will go out and spend a couple of grand on new rims, you know.
Yes.
And it's just, as you do.
Yeah. It's what you're interested in.
That's
it's
it.
What,
you know, and there's nothing wrong with you can spend it's your money, you can spend it on whatever you want, you know.
I guess the problem is when it's not your money.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely that, yeah.
When it's the credit card company's money.
Yes. That can certainly introduce new problems. I think most of the plumbing there is done.
Wobble, wobble.
Yeah, the cables are sticking out slightly. Let's go up and down a bit.
Yes. Winston asked, are we on Top Chat or Live Chat? I swapped it to Top Chat moments after we went live, or moments after you passed the laptop to me. It was like, oh yes, that'd probably be a good thing.
Live is what we want to be.
Yes,
on.
I swapped it from Top Chat, and then I just swapped it back again because I misclicked.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was going to say, because you're very much on Top Chat at the moment, so I'm not sure what point you're making. But
No.
Yes.
Because Winston asked.
Yes.
And that was a case of I swapped it over, and then yes, I didn't realise that clicking on the drop down and then clicking on the drop down again changed the option as opposed to just collapsing the drop down.
Very well.
So yes, Caradog crotch cam.
That was not my intent.
However, luckily everything has moved, so that doesn't work.
Right, that's already got a Corsair AIO backplate on it, so that doesn't need to move. That's got a built-in IO shield, so that doesn't need to move. Yeah, that should just drop in that case.
Do you have the special peg for holding it in place whilst...
This motherboard does, yes. Sorry, this case does, yes.
Very well. Okay, we get you have conversations. No need to brag about it. Thanks, Teltag. Yes, exactly. A 3080 Ti for bunny ears.
Yes.
Highest definition bunny ears.
Bunny.
Although it can now be said that at least you have used your 3080 Ti for something involving ray tracing.
Yes. Yep. Quake 2, that really ragged it, that did.
Oh yeah, because it's fully path traced.
Yeah. Yep.
It is a bit much.
I was going to say a ludicrous overkill rendering, but if you actually understand what is happening, still quite a marvel.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, fully path traced lighting systems are impressive, but it is also just a case of, boy, are they expensive still.
Yeah, and Quake 2, I needed to adjust the default settings for Quake 2 just weren't quite on the money either, because just there was like, especially in some of the levels, especially the final level, were just pitch black. You just couldn't see. It was just too dark, and I'm like, and I should have actually stopped to figure it out, because I pressed on because I was like, oh, it's probably just this room is just a bit dark, and you know, it's an id Tech game. It's supposed to be a bit moody kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, there were certain sections where I'm just like, I literally just cannot see where I'm going here, and it's slowing me down. You know?
Yeah.
And it was a bit annoying. It felt like it hadn't been tested very well.
Also, you were playing with a light shining at your face.
That was not helping, no, just because, just streamer things.
Did you ever find the stick tape?
Yes, I did. Because
there were calls for you to tidy up your egregious cabling.
That's very much some, you know, the old ketchup and mustard going on there, isn't it? So yeah, I will receive it.
Johnny the Fixer. I knew someone whose ex-wife asked him to build her a new PC. He bought a new case and parts, then put all of his old stuff into her new case and upgraded his own. Technically, they have received a new, to them, computer.
Well, who was paying for it, I think, is the answer to that, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, if she was paying for it, then...
bit rude.
Yeah. And it's a case of, look, if you wanted a new PC as well, then you should have sold your stuff and blah blah blah. However, if you were paying for it, then by all means you can get yourself some shiny new parts and pass down your hand-me-downs.
Absolutely. Winston Super Chat saying the YouTube rig was built in TGTT 51.
51.
Very well.
Yeah, we're on 90 today, I think, aren't we? I think this is the 90th episode.
Yes.
51. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that must have been a hot minute ago. So, well, yeah, that would have been... Bloody hell. Well, that must have been 40 weeks ago then, mustn't it? At least 40 weeks ago, because we've skipped a couple of episodes, obviously.
Yes.
So, yeah, that would have been nearly a year ago then. No, it can't have been that long ago. But what's the date on it?
I don't know. If stuff would load.
The date is 0%.
9 months later. It's labelled as 9 months later, so yes, I'm going to go with that.
9 months. Yeah. Fair enough.
Oh, yeah. What an excellent freeze frame. Fabulous.
Very well. Are we on the new table layout?
Yes.
Yeah. Bloody hell, how long have we had this table layout?
No, we're not. Because look at the space to the wall.
Oh, yeah.
So no.
Yeah,
we're
not. Good. Yeah, that makes me feel better. Because otherwise I'd be like, oh my God, I've been sitting on the FlexiSpot table for way too long.
I mean, yes.
Sorry, FlexiSpot.
I mean, yes, you have.
Yes, I have. But also... Yeah. Right, fans.
There you go. Ah, yes. Is the coffee machine still working? Both of the coffee machines from last week are still working and still making coffee.
Fair enough.
For some hacking reason.
Well, you did bring them in to the best home appliance repair channel on YouTube.
Absolutely.
And both of them now work.
Yes. Instantly, just...
Yep.
I don't know.
I'm sorry that Vince can't do the same thing. You know, that seems like a him problem. Hi, Vince. Sorry.
It was just the fact that it was such a...
No fault found is technically a fix.
It was just the fact that I double checked and was like, no, these are very dead. And then they weren't. Like, okay. Clearly to fix stuff, I should just stick it in the boot of my car and drive around a bit.
Yeah. Right. Does this not have digital RGB? Oh, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have ARGB headers.
What's that?
Let me get my head in there. I don't know what the heck that one is. I think that's one of the weird Asus proprietary ports for add-in stuff. It's got analog RGB.
Which is the white one.
Yeah.
The 12-volt white one.
That's right, but those are... Yeah, that's 12-volt 4-pin.
You have a ROG EXT.
Yeah, it doesn't have ARGB, though.
Huh. It has Safe Boot and MemOK and a retry button on it.
Yeah.
What?
Well, this is the equivalent of the Crosshair, just 7th gen.
What? How bizarre.
Yeah.
You also have a flow header.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah. Okay, well, that means I can't plug in the... there's an LED strip in this as well, and that means that can't be plugged in directly. So that will be slightly awkward. Is that glued in? No, that's magnetic. Am I going to pull that out then? I guess I may as well because, yeah, I guess I may as well. Because, yeah. That's a bummer.
Is it Maximus 9?
Yes.
Formula.
Yeah, Maximus 9 formula.
Cool. I'm just going to look up the manual. That's what they're called. Manuals.
Just realised I just stuck my head in completely in front of the camera there, and we're just giving everyone a view of my hot hair.
Have a look at my features.
They're the only thing I've got.
Hold on a minute. Manual.
All right.
What? What? ROG Maximus 4 formula. ROG Strix AM4 manual. Excuse me?
I don't know.
Last I checked, this wasn't an AM4 motherboard.
Can confirm this is not an AM4 motherboard. Do you want to switch to the face cam? Because I need to just do a lot of turning around and it's going to be impossible to keep the camera pointing in the right direction.
Hello.
There we go. Yeah.
There you go. I am going to see if there's any mention of the onboard buttons and switches and so on. Okay.
You've put that in my head now. Take a look at my sausage. It's the only one I've got. Da 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 da. Shout out to Ordinary Sausage, the YouTube channel.
Oh, you do have a list of your postcodes. That's all of the fan headers.
Yeah, I'm missing everything. Yeah. Oh, back fan, that's what I'm missing. And CPU power.
You have Aura RGB headers, 4-pin RGB header 1-2.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this predates ARGB by like 1 generation because
certainly looks.
Yeah, because like the Gigabyte behind us, that's 8th gen, and that has got ARGB headers on it. So I think this is just 1 generation too old to have ARGB.
Yeah, the manual certainly doesn't mention it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it only says about the 2 white ones.
Yeah.
That we found anyway.
Yeah, I might have a look around. I've probably got an old analog 12-volt LED strip somewhere it might be a bit old and manky, but they're just really good for wash lighting. They just they just bring up. You can just set them to a flat color, and it just adds wash lighting to just add illumination in the case.
What's that? Oh,
that's for Gigabyte.
That's the Gigabyte VDG one.
Yeah.
Asus. This is the English. This is the 5-volt 3-pin one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Correct. Where is?
And I presume this can't go onto the Corsair doodad.
Not directly. I think it can be adapted, but I've not looked into how you adapt them.
Do you have a box of RGB bits?
I do.
Spot all the older generation. All right, we're not calling you out because you're old, Winston. I'm just calling you out.
Okay, that's going to go there. I've got to put an AIO in this, I've just remembered, and I've kind of left that to the last minute.
Wait. Usual sausage is real name is Frankfurter.
Really?
Apparently, according to Sleepwalker in chat.
He must have legally changed that.
Yeah.
He must have. There's no way that ordinary sausage's actual legal name is Frankfurter. You know, that's some prophesiable nonsense there. You know, that's just.
Here's the chosen one. You're supposed to bring balance.
Right. I'm going to quickly turn on the coffee machine and get myself a coffee on the go, and I'm going to grab that AIO on my way back. EIO.
Very well.
Part of me is tempted to start calling them CLCs like Gamers Nexus do, just because CLC is slightly less awkward than AIO to say. I'll be right back.
Okay. Take my mug.
I'm going to the loo as well. I'm doing all of these things.
Take off your microphone then.
I will. Microphone.
Oh, there we go. Hold on. If I position this here, now you can have me in stereo. Although I don't think that's actually how it works. Also, good lord, what is modulation for levels? Good heaven. Hamburger is his brother. Nice. Wait, the clue Cowdog was a manual for a certain generation. What? I don't understand, Jim. Cowdog was a manual for a certain generation. Hey? No, I am very, very, very lost on that one. No, we don't actually have a left-right balance set up, so no, you will not have me in stereo. However, the bit was done. Are they comedy stick-on? No, they are real. They are facial hair. It is not a joke. It is a reference to a thing that happened in the exclusive chat on the Discord. That is all. 70s soft porn. Oh God, Winston, please. Please. You will donate $100 if I shave all of my hair above the neck. Does that include like eyebrows and eyelashes? Because I feel like that would be extreme. Yes. No. That was a question I was about to answer. Oh yes, about the number of monitors I use. I use 2 monitors. At home, I have an LG CX 55 inch is my main screen, and a Dell U3014 as my right-hand screen, or second screen. So yes, I have 2 large screens. It's good, it's nice. Using like a 55-inch screen as your main monitor is terrible for productivity stuff. For general web browsing, things like that, works fine. But like, I tried working from home on it once, and I was just like, nope, can't do it. I am going to the office. And just packed up and went to the office. So yeah, it was so much easier. So I don't know, it just, yeah, didn't work for me. But no. I trimmed these myself just one night because I've got a pair of clippers. So yeah, just went through. I have not vertically stacked screens. I don't know whether I think that would work or not for me. Vertically stacking screens. Have a microphone.
I'm not keen on the concept of vertically stacked screens because it's easier to pan your head slightly left and slightly right than it is to go up and down, in my opinion.
I feel like it's
on the flip
something.
side, though, because of widescreen, technically it's less distance going up and down than it is left and right.
That's what I was saying about if you had like a 21:9 ultra wide or something, sticking two of them on top of each other. I think that might work.
Sometimes I'm very tempted to go ultra wide and a portrait monitor next to it, but the problem is that I think if I did that, I would still end up with less usable real estate. I think ultra wides are wasteful of useful real estate because, like, as it stands at the moment, I have 16:9s, and I have my main screen, which will generally have either a full screen game, or it'll have a 2/3 YouTube video and a 1/3, say, Twitter. And on the right, I can have 3 columns because 1440p of, you know, Twitter, Discord, and another app, or Twitter, Discord, and YouTube Studio or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, if you went to an ultra wide, what do you actually use that space for? Because if you put it in half, then you're down to 4:3, which doesn't give you widescreen anything. And I don't know. The problem is I've never actually used an ultra wide, so but maybe that's why I can't understand the use case of them, because I've never actually tried to use one. But
I think
thinking about it in my head, I'm like, I can't see how that would give me a useful thing. Same with a portrait monitor. Like, some people use a portrait monitor for like full screen Discord, and I'm like, but I can use Discord in 1/3 of one of my 16:9s right now.
Yeah.
Full screen just seems like such a waste.
Yeah.
So
when I had a portrait monitor, I used it mostly for full screen document reading. Because an awful lot of what I do is reading A4 pages.
Yeah.
It was a case that just having that full screen on a monitor that was portrait was very convenient.
Yeah.
But since I swapped to having 2 3x2 screens, I still think I want the vertical height more and want portrait 16:10. So 10:16, 5:8, whatever. Over having 3x2 for both screens. But I think what I would want is 3x2 for one screen and then 5:8 for the second screen at work. But then it's kind of a case of, it also feels like I kind of want a 16:10, 8:5 screen as well as a second screen for watching stuff, looking at stuff that's vertical.
Yeah.
Sorry, not vertical, but... And you end up with like 3 screens, and then you only use like 1/3 of a screen.
I'd definitely go 16:10
like
again any day of the week,
Yeah.
just because 16:10 is so underrated.
Yeah.
Like, when you actually look at the number of pixels, it's not that much extra over 16:9, but it feels like a lot. I think it's because 16:10 soaks up all of the space that toolbars are wasting. Wasting.
Yeah.
So you actually get, like, for example, when you're on a 16:10 monitor and you're watching YouTube, you're getting while YouTube is windowed, a complete 1080p image with toolbars above and below it, without having to full screen, which is just really cool. And you just find yourself just not having to full screen things because you're already seeing a full 1080p, a full 16:9 image in front of you.
Yeah.
And like, because it's been a while since I've had one, but like, we've got a 16:9 on the Lianli, 16:10 on the Lianli, and just when I sit in front of that, I'm just like, this is nice. You know, it's a bit too big for me. Those are 30-inch, aren't they?
The one on the left is.
Yeah, the left one. Yeah, 30 inches is a bit too big for my taste. I don't want to go any higher than 27. However, a 28-inch, so a 16:10 thing. That'd be pretty sweet.
The only issue with that is I have no idea who makes any.
Yeah,
because the only 16x10s I know of are in 24-inch or 30-inch.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that they don't exist, because as it is, 1440p panels are only used in monitors anyway. And I think, objectively speaking, there is zero reason for 16:9 monitors to exist. I do not see any useful use case for one.
They fit more easily on mother glass, therefore they're cheaper.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a fair point.
Because of the manufacturing methods, also they fit in the spaces around 16:9 TVs and stuff like that.
Interesting, yeah.
And just stuff like that. So it's a case of, because of the way that they're made off of a single massive monitor sheet, effectively, and then sliced up into that, it makes it easier for them to fit stuff like that. So yeah,
that's reasonable. Yeah,
absolutely. What resolution is my 55-inch? It's 4K, and the DPI is too low, arguably, for general desktop stuff. For gaming, obviously, absolutely fine, but like for desktop stuff, it's a bit low. I would want probably to go down to the 48 if I had a 40 case of it's still very sharp.
Still more pixels.
Still way more pixels. But it's just a case of the actual size of each element on their kind of thing is a little bit big. I think a 48-inch would look better. So yeah. I don't know.
Reasonable.
But yeah, I'm considering getting, assuming this is what they're called, a C3. You know, like a 42-inch C3 or something like that, which will be next year's LG OLED TV. So yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, just because by then that screen will be coming into its 4th year.
Yeah.
And whilst that doesn't mean it needs replacing, it'll just be a case of I wouldn't feel bad about replacing it after 4 years and then having that screen to use somewhere else. So yeah.
That's about fine. I can just about top mount this AIO with this motherboard. The back screws won't quite line up because the IO cover is kicking out the radiator too much, but the center and front screws do line up. So I can stick so I can stick 4 screws down there, and it's just like it ain't gonna fall out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is always my litmus test for anything. It's just, you can always hear someone going sort of, oh, you haven't screwed that in properly. It's just like, is it going to fall out? No, it's not. So it's fine, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Oh yeah, we need to stick tape. Let me just quickly check if that's on the counter here, or if I need to look for it. Because because I actually care about the way this computer looks, because there's the hardware is in there to make it worthwhile, and that's why I'm doing the case swap in the first place.
Absolutely. Now all you need to do is find the thing that you knew where it was.
Well, I haven't seen it in a... It's not... It's been around recently. I just can't remember where I put it. It's probably in one of the boxes. Oh, there it is. I was going to say, because I've seen it recently, it's not going to be buried anywhere. I just can't remember where it is. However, yeah, here's the stick tape. This is the same roll that I bought years ago. Just, if you're a computer builder, just jump on eBay and search for stick tape. It's called stick tape because you use it to wrap a hockey stick. It's grip tape. And yeah, because it's fabric tape, unlike electrical tape, it doesn't go all wrinkly and manky. It's made of fabric, so it just conforms to the shape of the cable. And you end up with just a really nice matte finish. And it's just really good for hiding, you know, the old ketchup and mustard cables.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Teltac said somewhere, I can't read it now, something about next stream, just shaky cam following you around, shuffling stuff into boxes, tidying up the shop.
Oh, and don't make me. Please don't make me.
See, the thing for that is, it wouldn't be shaky cam. I would just rent a proper gimbal again.
Well, we need
and
to do
just
that
follow
anyway
you
because
around.
we need to do the 100,000 subscriber
Yeah,
special.
I'm just waiting on you.
Yeah.
I hired the things. I had the stuff.
I had a vision last night that I could, because again, I had a vision last night of moving all of the old shop lights to the cupboard, which I think, because that gets them out the back of the storeroom and into there, and then I can move those racks into there and put up the extra counter, which I've been planning on doing. So, and also I did a little bit of tidying up out there, so the back room is a bit more under control again. You can walk in there again. So we're in a position now where I think at any given moment now, I can just take any junk that's in here and just go into the back room, shoot the video. So, yeah, what I mean by all of this is I'm ready to do it. Let's do it. Let's rent the gear and do it.
Okay.
Do it. Just do it. Are you taking a picture of all of the mess to share with people? That
with
looks
a
like
person.
what you were doing. Yeah.
With a person.
With
yes.
a person.
Whom?
Call them out.
Teltac.
Teltac.
Because Teltac says, so when I eventually come back down south properly, I'm going to force you to tidy. There we go.
I refuse to comment on this situation.
I am not a part of this scene.
I'm a victim.
Also, because I forgot to ask earlier, and someone did ask, how much did you charge for the controller repair?
£20. Yep. Which obviously is a completely ludicrously small amount of money. But whenever I'm doing experimental repairs like that, I charge not obscenely low, like to the point where it's barely worth charging at all, because it's a case of, I've never done this repair before. I don't know how well it's going to hold up. I don't know how good those parts are. So if it turns out to be not a great repair, I certainly didn't rob them, you know. That much being said, I did say to him, as I say to everyone, I said, if you have any problems, bring it back. And I'm being defensive because lots of people were just like, use the wrong parts, that's going to fail in a week. And I'm like, I don't think it is. Like, I'll fully admit that I didn't use I didn't get the premium sticks because I didn't know what to buy.
Yeah.
However, it'll be fine, man. You know. Plus, also, it's a case of, you know, if it lasts another year, he's got his money's worth, kind of thing. But anyway,
yeah,
the point being, yeah, I charged £20. If I were to do it again, like I've had various people say, you need to get these exact modules are what you want. Or lots of people were just like, yo, bro, you can just replace the potentiometers on the side. You don't have to remove the entire module. And I'm like, okay. And I had a look at the old ones and saw how they came apart. I was like, yeah, okay. Didn't realize that at the time, but such is. So it is possible to streamline that repair into an economical repair where you could probably do it for 25, maybe £30 to make it worth your while. And that's still less than 50 quid for a new controller, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people were still like, oh, I do these all the time. And I guess if you're practiced at it, and some people reckon they've got it down to like 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, I could believe that if you're practiced.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, which means, you know, you could hypothetically do 3 of them per hour. And if you were charging £25 each, that's 50 or 60 quid for an hour's work kind of thing. And it's just, you know, okay, 75, fluffing the numbers here, you know.
I was just like, I don't understand your maths.
An hour and a bit, you know what I mean,
yeah.
you know. So I'm kind of just fudging the numbers to be like, so, you know, I can understand how for some people it was working out as economical. But then the other problem is, from my perspective, I'm just like, yeah, you know what I could do? I could get 4 laptops that are in for just a service where all I need to do is do Windows updates, tidy up the start menus, remove adware and stuff like that. I can work on 4 of them at the same time, charge 50 quid for each one, and those will be done in an hour or 2. And that's
of which 10 minutes of it was user interaction.
Yeah, and that's up to £200 for an hour's work. And it didn't require me to sit and focus with the soldering irons and all the rest of it. So, you know, I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything like that. It's just a case of, with my business model and the kind of work that I do in here, it was a case of, didn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
what you have access to.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, I think a lot of people who do this kind of work aren't sitting in a shop doing it. I think they're people who just do it for their mates from home and stuff like that, or just for people they know, maybe,
Yeah.
or kiosk workers, that kind of thing. I don't know, actually, genuine question, but yeah, I don't know.
It's like...
There was a very mixed response to that video,
Yeah.
basically, and part of it I was absolutely justified, where I did go in blind, but that's what I do, man. I like to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
But part of it were a lot of people who were saying sort of, oh, I do this all the time, and I'm like, I don't think it's worth it, if I'm honest. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, I do think it would be worth it on like an Xbox Elite controller or something like that, because that's a controller that costs what, £120 brand new.
Yeah.
You know.
So I can kind of
that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, know? I can see the value on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly when you get special offers on the series controllers, making them like £35 or £40.
Yeah.
Just kind of...
Yeah. I'm not convinced it's worth doing.
But it's also kind of a case of, to a degree, there's a separate conversation of
waste.
From the perspective of waste.
Yeah. And also just like, if you're poor, £30 for a repair is less than 45 for a brand new one. Therefore it's worth doing. And that's a tune that I can dance for, because that's, obviously, I sell people on that sales pitch for repairs every day, where people are just like, is this laptop worth fixing? And I'm like, well, the cost of repair is less than the cost of replacement. Therefore, yes, it's economical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, the conversation is more nuanced than that, but if you boil it down to black and white, yeah, absolutely.
And just to quickly flick back to the conversation, because I was talking about using my TV as a monitor.
Oh, yeah.
And just a quick comment on there, about the fact of, it's very much a case of it won't be used up or faulty or anything like that by the end of that, but it's just a case of I won't feel bad replacing a screen after 4 years, kind of thing. It was... Yeah.
You're not going to chuck it in the bin. You're going to... You're probably going to sell it or pass it down to someone else who will use it as a nice TV.
Yeah, exactly. It's a case... It's
Hell,
more of
so
that
to
case.
me.
Yeah, it's a case of, or probably I'll just straight swap my parents' TV.
Yeah.
For it, because they've got a literally first generation of 4K TV. And it's just a case of like, none of the streaming services really work properly on it now. It doesn't support any video formats if you try and stream to it.
Yeah.
It supports like MPEG 2 that was encoded in the 90s, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's just a case of, you can't stream...
It supports iPod format.
Well, not even that.
Oh, yeah, well, never mind.
But yeah, so it's just a case of, I'll probably just straight swap that and then take that TV and do something with that TV.
Yeah.
Because that TV's going to be 10 years old?
Yeah. Well,
9 years old?
Hell,
like
again.
No, maybe more than... Wait.
I could probably put it to use in here, because like, if I do get a TV in here, I sure as hell don't want it to be a super shiny one, because there's a chance that it's going to get knocked over.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. I don't want to spend $3,000 on a shiny TV for the shop, because something might happen to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a terrible idea to buy expensive stuff for a public space.
Yeah. But that TV was very much the thing that made me go, oh my God, how do most people play on consoles?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got like appreciable delay on every action that you do. Like,
oh, that's unfortunate.
Like not even like high-speed camera recording, look at the delay on this button press.
Yeah.
But like controller here, press button, now jumps.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we're getting up for like half a second of delay on here.
Yeah, and like obviously modern TVs have got a game mode, but the point is that at some point they didn't, and this was considered acceptable.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, and if this is normal for TVs kind of thing, and this is what most people play on, I can understand why they go, 30 FPS is fine.
Yes.
Because they also have half a second of delay, 15 frames of delay between their actions.
Oh my days.
And seeing their actions.
Mm.
So yeah, I can. It was kind of that made me understand that, and because I tried to play through Halo 1 on my original Xbox on that TV, I managed to complete the first level, And then we got to the second one, and I was just like, I can't do this.
I don't want to play this anymore.
So yeah, so we just went downstairs and used a monitor instead. And I was like, oh look, the input delay is no longer half a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an experience. But it was the very first time I saw 4K video and stuff, and was just like, damn, that does look good.
Yeah.
But yeah. I found it so funny because we upgraded from a 28-inch CRT to a 55-inch TV.
Yeah.
And my parents said, it's going to be too big, it's going to be huge, it's going to be far too large. And within 3 months of it being in there, the comment was it was too small and they couldn't read the text on it clearly. I was just like, it's almost like I said, we should have got the 65.
It is amazing how picture size has ballooned with LCDs, because it is just mind-blowing how with monitors and TVs the panels have gotten so big, and we're just always looking for something bigger, and just every time you get a bigger one you're like, wow, that's huge, and then a couple of years later it seems like no big deal, and because I have clear memories of every time I have bought new monitors and been like, wow, when I've sat in front of it, and just then when you've gotten to upgrade, those have just seemed so pedestrian by comparison,
The biggest upgrade for me, feeling like that, was going from a 17-inch 1024 TFT to a 24-inch 1080p screen.
Yeah.
And my computer still loading the original resolution the first time it came on, and it just being a box in the middle of the screen, and just being like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's very funny when there's no scaling and it's just like, this is all of the space that you're about to acquire.
Yeah. And I was just like, very well. I see. And it was the fact that, yes, I went from this single 17-inch 4x3 monitor to two 24-inch 1080p screens. And I was just doing multiple things at the same time and being able to see them all at once. Being able to have a window here and there and there and there. Yeah, and then it's a case of, it's just like these days, it's just like, oh yes, multiple 27-inch monitors, 30-inch monitors, 55-inch TVs.
See, I was a little bit late to the party because for a long time, my laptop was my daily driver and my computer was strictly games only.
Yeah.
I was very proud of that. I was just like, this PC, only games, nothing else installed on it but the game. The game is all that matters. But that's because I was
on my AMD computer with a bulldozer in it.
Actually, it was a Phantom 2.
Which was arguably faster than what you upgraded to.
Oof. Anyway, that's in the past now.
We've moved on now.
Yes. It can't hurt me anymore. Actually, it can because it's over there. But
it's still here. It haunts me.
We're gonna have to rebuild it though, because like you said, like you said, I've got my empty Cooler Master, and I've got that there, and it's just, it makes sense just to rebuild it again. But what would I even do with it? I mean, I guess it can sit in the window and look pretty, because it still looks cool.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. I forgot what we're talking about.
Do you have a period appropriate graphics card that at least, spins?
I could lob the white.
You've got the silver 777.
Yeah, there's a couple of HD 7 series cards down there.
777.
Yeah. Which would be
5.
Yeah. And those would be good enough because like I wouldn't actually use it for. I don't think I'd ever actually run it. I would just leave it in the window just to look pretty. So yeah, I would just put one of those obnoxiously huge Radeon HDs in there.
Yeah.
Just as a it's got a big graphics card in it. Just don't look too closely.
I mean, it's period appropriate.
Yeah, I suppose, and that makes sense because it means that if for anyone who looks at it that actually knows and will look at it and be like, "That's an FX," they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's also got a Radeon HD in it, so it's just an old computer." That makes sense. It's period appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, yes, it's carefully selling that, if that makes sense. It's kind of look, old computers can look nice too.
Yeah,
I think is a message, not a this is what we sell in here.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, like, I don't need to worry too much because, I mean, this is why the display machines are out, and this is exactly what the Lianli is for. The Lianli was built to be a showpiece of this is a top-end, easily reproducible computer. We can build you something like this with, I don't know, a 48-hour turnaround time if you're willing to pay for that, So...
Teltac keeps muttering to himself, bulldozers weren't horrible. Bulldozers weren't horrible. Bulldozers weren't horrible.
Do you still have one Teltac? What are you running these days?
No, I think he's running 6th gen.
Yeah, fine.
I think.
Yeah.
I think. I can't remember.
Yeah. We had heckin' Stockholm syndrome with the FX series because just we wanted so badly for AMD to be good, but they just weren't. But it wasn't until that anyone who owns an FX wants so badly for it to be good, but it's not until they get something else that they realize just how bad FX is.
Yeah.
And I speak from the heart. I speak as someone who was running an FX8 for years, an FX6 and then an FX8. I had a Phenom 2, then an FX6, then an FX8. I lived that life. I lived by the sword. And it was when I switched out to Intel after that, and just how much faster. Like I went from an FX8 to a 4770K. And it changed my world, So it's not like I went up to Skylake or 7th Gen or anything like that. I went to Haswell, and it changed my world. Same graphics card, and it changed my world. And I'm like, that was the day where my will for AMD FX was truly broken when I actually understood just how bad it is. Because I still see people in the comments now and then going, "Oh, I've got an FX. It's not that bad." I'm like. It is, though.
Oh, no.
It might be fit for purpose. It might be doing what you need it to do. Don't get me wrong. It might be doing everything you need it to do. But don't kid yourself. Anything else will obliterate it. It will be destroyed in all ways it's possible to be destroyed, and some ways that are quite impossible as well.
Had you upgraded by the time I built my 2700X PC?
I don't think so, no. No. Because that was the thing, is that I wasn't particularly interested in new stuff at the time, mainly because I just didn't have it myself at home, so I wasn't really paying attention. That's why I was sleeping on the Ryzen 2000 series, and why when you rocked up with a 2700X and an X470 or a 370? X470. You were like, "Here's the newest stuff from AMD." I was just like, "Sure." And I wasn't really excited, despite the fact that it was actually a very exciting platform that you had just acquired and that was brand new out. And I was like, okay, I don't know anything about this, you know, because at the time I was so burnt out on AMD. Oh no, I think I had switched. I think I was on the 4770K at that point, because I think I had just ditched my FX and was just...
Because the 4770K was my one.
Yeah, that's right.
So it would have had to have, if you'd upgraded to that. Because when did you build that? So I thought you were using that.
Was like 2018, 2019. Whenever Coffee Lake just come out. Yeah. I bought that just as Coffee Lake had come out, because which was, and that was around the same time actually, because everyone told me to go Ryzen 2000, and I was like, no, I want Intel.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they were right, and I was bang wrong.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the 86 Dubry Watts
It was okay,
compared to the like 1700 and stuff.
But the Ryzen 2000 was available around the time when I was building that. It was either available or it was going to be out within weeks, kind of thing. And you know, there were people in my comments section saying I was wrong and I was going to regret it, and they were bang on the money. There is videos of me saying I don't care about Ryzen. And straight up, I was wrong. I was bang wrong there. Could not have been further wrong. But I'll freely admit that. But also, yeah, that's the thing is, you know, this is what a lot of people, I think, didn't understand, is that I had a very good reason to be very disenfranchised with AMD.
Yeah. Well, it's the fact that the IPC improvement from the final FX to Ryzen 2000 Zen Plus was 100% improvement.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about a doubling of per clock performance.
Yeah. And also...
And an increase of nearly a gigahertz in the clock speed.
Yeah. And also, in fairness, I was running like an 8250, I think. So it wasn't even a late FX either. It was.
But you didn't gain anything from the later FXs.
No. Oh,
not in IPC.
Yeah.
You gained a couple hundred megahertz more.
Okay,
and stuff like that. But
yeah,
it was
I mean, I was overclocked anyway. So, yeah.
But it was just a case of like the actual IPC increase was something like 100%.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, you can understand how you could have been completely disinterested in it, because obviously a case of 100% performance increase
that seems impossible
to get to 2700X performance.
Yeah.
When you look at 2700X performance today, it's kind of a case of but we're 150% on from that.
Yeah.
And we're 4 years later, kind of thing. So it's like I can understand that point when you had been so put off.
Yeah, and you know, on that note of those kinds of improvement figures. I think it's definitely a thing. Just lots of folks these days have no idea how big of a deal Ryzen is, or how big of a deal Ryzen has been.
Yeah.
But not just because of how good it was compared to what AMD were previously running, but how much it forced Intel to move forward.
Yeah.
You know, because Intel were stagnating something fierce.
Well, yeah, because it's the fact of, you look at the performance differential, clocked the same between 3rd gen and 8th gen, and it's like, isn't it something like 10% improvement?
I thought there was like between 5 and 10% improvement each generation.
Yeah, but
so going
part of that came from increasing in clock speed.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I'm saying. If you lock the clock speed, so the actual improvement from microarchitecture changes and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like 10%.
That's very depressing.
And it's just kind of, whereas now we've gone 10th gen to 11th gen, there was like 10% IPC improvement. 11th gen to 12th gen, there was like 30-40% improvement.
Yeah, because like the early generations overclock really well as well, don't they?
Yeah.
So therefore, if we're relying on just IPC alone, you could say sort of, oh yeah, but the new ones are clocked high. So it's like, yes, but you can overclock the balls off of the old ones anyway.
Yeah. It's why the 2600K survived so well.
Yeah.
Just because you could push it to 4 gigahertz so easily.
Yeah.
And it made it, you know, more than enough right up until.
Yeah. And it was a quad core. That's the difference. Just as soon as you had 4 physical cores, it was now a staple. Whereas the i-series CPUs that have not aged well were the dual core 4-thread models, because you only had 2 physical cores, it's just too easy to overwhelm those.
Yeah, and it's arguably a case now they're in the same situation where the 4 cores are now aging really badly, because we're now at the point where game engines and stuff are looking for six busy threads.
Interesting. Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's kind of a case of, we're now at the point where, you know, you want to be looking at 6 performant cores.
I wonder if that's the problem with the 9100F, hypothetically.
Maybe, but also I was looking 3 years ago, 4 years ago sort of thing. So it's kind of a case of...
Yeah, we moved on from there as well.
But also the case of, I was getting lower performance in a 4-core, 4-thread part.
Yeah.
So yeah, weird things were happening with that. But yes.
Right, we're almost ready to turn on. I'm just going to stick tape this thing. I'm going to grab a knife so I can cut bits off, and then we'll.
I'm going to knock over a light and do a concern.
And just suddenly go into the mic.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm explaining your actions.
Right, we'll line up the camera for this just so people can just see what my method for this is.
Oh boy. Before I built my current 5600X setup last year, the last PC that you had built using new components was a Pentium 3. So I thought you were saying the last PC that you had was a Pentium 3.
Oh no.
Because upgrading from a Pentium 3 to a 5600X.
Oof.
Talk about mind-blowing.
Yeah. Right, can you switch to bench cam? What have we got at the moment?
Bench cam gives you that.
Okay, that's probably good enough. I'm going to do this in situ, actually. This is going to be really hard to show. Okay, fine. We'll
upgrading from a 1700X to a 7700X in a few months. Is that going to be a massive increase? Yes, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah. Okay, right.
Because whilst we're not
too short,
whilst we're not expecting super massive gains from Ryzen 7000 series, we're still expecting pretty big improvements. I think the comment was 15% single-threaded. Sorry, 15% single-core performance improvements. Other numbers for multi-threaded, which is gonna be good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I saw, which surprised me, is that at least on scan, DDR5 seems to have come down massively in price.
Okay. Like snapshot, how much does a 16 gig kit of DDR5 cost?
A random kit I looked at, I didn't look particularly hard, was 168 quid.
168.
For a 16 gig kit that was at 6,000?
Yeah, so it's still more expensive than DDR4, but that's in the realms of affordable now.
Yeah,
whereas previously it was like £250 for a 16 gig kit at one point. And it's like, I'm not paying 250 quid for RAM.
Yeah, that was also like a 5,000 kit,
yeah,
which is like a 3600 kit is effectively in the pricing tier now. So it's kind of, it's around what I'd be expecting. Yeah, and then you can get like 4800 kits for £127.
Fair enough.
So it's kind of a case of DDR5 price is coming down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be good.
Right, so I should have done this earlier on before I filled this box with stuff. So this is far harder than it needs to be. But I'm just cutting off strips of this, and I'm just going to very roughly put a strip around the cables coming out of the connector. Trying to do this just in one long loop, it won't work, trust me. It'll just, so I cut off strips, and we're just going to put this around here just to cover. And there we go. So it's just covering it up. And then once we've done the main cover, then we can, I think I've just scrambled that. I think I've just ruined that forever. And then we can just put on another strip, and we can just build it up, basically. Oh yeah, I just completely ruined that. That's fine.
Not bad.
I'm just going to wrap that up.
Corsair Dominator Platinum 5200 32 gig kit for £125.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's certainly a case that the DDR5 prices do seem to actually be coming down and becoming far more reasonable.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we're at the point, though, currently, where we don't know what ICs and stuff you want to be buying, but that's not a concern for 99.9% of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, we don't know which kits we want for specific bins and things like that.
Yeah.
Currently, so I don't think anyone's really looked. I am pleased for all of the little improvements and stuff that it's making. Do you want me to?
I want to get a knife that's sharp, if I'm honest.
Also, does this really not just tear? Oh, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I've always been bad at tearing tape. Like, you know, sellotape, any kind of tape. It's like people who can bite tape off and stuff like that. I can't do that. I just can't. Yeah. I don't know. I've tried. I'm just like, I'm biting and nothing's happening. So yeah, I just make a hash of cutting tape all the time.
Yeah, that tape's difficult to do that with, but you could do it. Yeah. Also, now I have fibers.
Enjoy that for the next 2 hours.
There we go. There you go. So you're going to want high-speed RAM for Ryzen 7 like 62. Apparently, hold on, I have an article. 1 second. No, that is Pokemon. That's not Firefox.
There we go.
Those are very different.
And just to finish up this wrapping bit, so the other reason why I've done just strips is I've prioritized putting the strip on top so it looks nice on top where you can see it. So any bundles, any creases, any bits where you've had to do nasty stuff because it's a curved wire, that's all round the back where you can't see it. So all of the sins are hidden around the back where you can't see it, but the top has just got nice fabric wrap on it. So yeah. It's fine, Taltac. Also, like, I need to throw out the cardboard and stuff like that. It's not that bad. The front of the shop is nice. It's fine. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Put the camera away. Put the phone away.
Anyway.
I'm talking about RAM or whatever.
To go back to the chat, yes, absolutely. Ryzen 7000, apparently its optimal speed is going to be with kits of 6000 and higher.
Fair enough.
Which is interesting. So yeah. I am, again, excited.
Is there going to be any DDR4 support for Ryzen 7000?
No.
Fine, yeah. I didn't expect there to be. It was just as a curiosity thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it seems reasonable at this point to say that DDR4 is now dead.
13th gen is going to support DDR4.
Oh, fair enough.
And also, apparently, whatever 14th gen is going to be called, and I've entirely forgotten, is going to have a DDR4 controller as well. So yes, apparently. Or at least there will be versions of it available.
Can you go to face cam again?
No. Yes. So DDR4 will live on certain Intel SKUs, possibly.
Yeah. Although, again, now the price is coming down, it no longer... Like previously, the cost of DDR5 was so high that it made sense to buy a DDR4 motherboard and stick with DDR4. Whereas now it's come down low enough that suddenly buying a DDR4 motherboard, which obviously is going to lock you in to a dead end for upgrades, that doesn't really make sense anymore. You may as well pay that little bit extra so you can go DDR5 for the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I suppose dead is probably a strong word, but like previously I was very much like, until recently I was very much of the opinion of like, no, just build DDR4. Like there's plenty of decent DDR4 boards available.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't, you know, whereas now it's a case of, I think the time to say, cool, let's start building DDR5 is here.
I would still build DDR4 12th gen, but probably 13th gen I would say just build DDR5.
Yeah.
Even if it supports DDR4 and there are good DDR4 boards.
Yeah. Just
because it's a case that 13th gen is likely the last one that will mass support DDR4.
Yes.
So it's kind of a case of it's worth moving over at that point.
Yeah, the next ones after that, it's only going to be like bottom end boards and the weird ones and some BioStar thing, you know.
Yeah. Oh, wow. 6,000 Kingston Fury Beast 32 gig, 6,000 DDR5, £205. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad for some
for a
reasonably
kit,
for a reasonably high up there clock speed as well.
Yeah.
Kit. So that's nice.
Yeah, and 32 gigs kits are worth considering. Like if you're a streamer, then it's worth it. Most gaming PC.
It's also the case that it's basically worthless aiming at anything less than 32 gig on DDR5 just because of the size of the ICs and so on. because they're like 16 gigabit ICs and stuff like that.
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah. Just because I think it's still a niche case for people who actually need more than 16 gigs. Most people, the vast majority of people, don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the other hand, though, if you're building a new system and you're splashing out the money, you may as well get that 32 gig kit because it's going to last the lifetime of the computer.
Yeah. It's also the case that we're probably going to see the 32 gig kits being cheaper than the 16 gig kits because of the volume of ICs. Did you actually plug in the front panel?
No, I did not. I'm going to plug in the front panel now.
Also, did you apply thermal paste?
Yes, I did.
Very well. Yeah.
Oh, I see what happened there. Yeah.
Did you stick it through the wrong?
Kind of. It got covered up when I put the hard drive cage back in, so I couldn't see the wires, so I wasn't seeing a wire that wasn't connected, which is why I forgot.
No, don't apply thermal paste to the front panel. Thermal paste for the CLC, not thermal paste for the front panel. No.
Thermal paste on your power button, just so every time you turn on the computer, like,
Yes. Apparently, the CPU release date for Ryzen 7000 is 29th September. Apparently, 27th? 29th. Somewhere between those dates. I can't remember. I've forgotten. But yes.
Is that confirmed or is that still rumoured?
I don't know.
Yeah, although to be
honest, I
honest,
know that is certainly the indicated. That's certainly the indicated availability date for the CPU.
AMD have been doing pretty good with their releases, so we've no reason to doubt them. And also, given that the general shortages of stuff seem to be largely over now, we've no reason to believe that they can't meet their anticipated release date.
I'm really struggling because I've got stuck on a word and I can't remember what the word is.
All right, yeah, you went dead silent then. I was like, that wasn't a hot take. I thought that was quite a reasonable thing to say.
No. I just suddenly went, what is English? However, yes, I entirely agree with that. There is an AMD live stream happening on the 29th of August, which is announcing all of the SKUs and the pricing and so on. So it's 9 days' time until we actually know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm not super excited because I've got no plans to buy it at the moment, just from lack of need. You know, I've got too many computers. I own too many computers right now as it is. I need to sell some. I cannot possibly justify buying anything new. Like, you know, the only reason why I've got 5,000 in my home PC is just because we just bought too many of them and I could. And that, you know, it was AM4, so you could just keep upgrading. Yeah. Whereas, for Ryzen 7000, I need a new CPU, motherboard, and RAM. That's a big investment. I have no reason to do that unless I'm building a new computer, which I cannot possibly justify.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nor have the requirement for, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you sold... made a concerted effort to sell the Lian Li, the Corsair 275, this, and kind of sell all that, you could then cycle everything through again. But I think it's a case of you would need to get to that point of having sold all of that to justify buying it.
Yeah. I don't think I've got any plans to sell this one. Like the Lian Li, I was a bit like, oh, sell the Lian Li. I couldn't do that, but then there's no reason not to. Yeah. You know, I really like the Lian Li, but also like there's nothing stopping me from building another computer just like it if I sold it. You know,
absolutely.
You know, if someone walked in, because people fawn over that computer, customers, enthusiasts, and regular people alike. Really? They come in, and while they're talking to me, and while I'm entering some details or typing in serial numbers, they walk over to the Lian Li and they go, "Wow, look at that!" You know, loads of people do. The Lian Li is the one that everyone goes and looks at and goes, "Wow, I love this." You know, but it's just So And that's the thing. It's just there's nothing unique about it. I mean, you know, the EK Elite,
which is why I'm slightly surprised, because I guess I'm broken, because I just look at that and just go, yeah.
Yeah, that's just it. You know, I could build another one just like it tomorrow if I wanted to. But it's just a nicely arranged case, and it's got lots of RGB in it, so it lights up and looks pretty, which is what people like. That's what catches people's attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, to very quickly answer Paul Daniels' question, I didn't. This is the beard I've had since 2019. I just shaved that bit and this bit.
It is amazing how I kept thinking, did you have a beard before?
Yeah. I've had a beard consistently since end of October 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time I shaved was the day before I flew out to America in 2019.
Yeah.
Because I had a beard just beforehand and went, I'm not going to have a giant bushy beard.
Yeah.
So shaved it.
A great big bushy beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole mutton chops thing was a joke that started in the exclusive Discord room. And like it was a dare, and Caradog was just like, ha ha ha, I did it. And like everyone's just like, that looks pretty good. And like, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think also just because it's a deliberate look, whereas the problem with just growing a beard is it's almost just a case of, I have this beard because I haven't shaved, and that is all kind of thing.
Which is why I try to shave, kind of every week.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah. Whereas that is actually a deliberate look, which makes a big difference in my opinion.
Yeah. I was amazed, because when did I do it? Was it Thursday? Yeah. No, I did it Wednesday night. And I was amazed at the fact that I very much needed to shave again today for this to be clean shaven.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh,
that's
wow,
the problem. Now,
okay.
Now you've got to do maintenance just for that look.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, it's a case of very much I'm going to just clean shave tonight or tomorrow. And then
you could probably just electric shave just to keep it, just because...
Oh, yeah, but I was intentionally going to just clean shave.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then grow out again.
Yeah, fair enough. Very well. Okay, right.
Pulling some serious gaslighting Mandela effect. Excuse me?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, okay. This thing has started and it's running. I'm just going to download iQ on it, so we've got control of the RGB, and then we're going to test those other fans I've got. Then once I've tested those, we'll actually put all the panels on, and we'll just play with some different color effects. What's the timer on?
The timer is on 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 8 seconds.
Bad. Yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do then. Yeah,
10.
Okay. Anyway, I'll get iQ installed on this. Then we'll test those fans. Then we'll just play with some color schemes, and then I think we can just wrap up in a timely manner.
Next episode sponsored by Manscaped. If only.
Did I have an offer from Manscaped? I can't.
No, it was.
Oh no, I did. Or it was Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah, it was Dollar Shave Club.
However, it fell through, or rather, I
asked for too much money.
Yeah, the problem is my YouTube ad revenue keeps bouncing at the moment.
Yeah.
And the annoying thing is, I keep getting initial offers through when it's at a high. So I offer a price for what I think is reasonable, and just as I do that, the revenue goes and slumps again. It's really annoying. It's just the revenue's been very inconsistent recently, but I think that's just because some of the videos are just been very hit and miss recently. It's kind of like the Xbox controller video, completely bombed.
Oh no, we're making Wild Floor Lamp unhappy by things not exploding.
Oh yeah, sorry, dude.
We'll have to add explosions.
Yeah, I can heat gun the PCH if you want.
That'll fix it. No. All you do is you find something that's not posting, and you go, inject voltage.
It's been tense in the tech support rooms this week. However, on that note, I'm gonna sit down and do the injection video. I want to do the voltage injection video this week and get that out. I have privated the current voltage injection video. I privated the most popular video on the channel that has ever been on the channel, because I'm like, no, enough is enough. This video has a lot of misinformation in it. I need to private this video.
Yeah.
Like, it breaks my heart to private the most popular video on the channel while the revenue is currently low, but it has to be done. That video has to be updated.
Yeah.
So I've privated it, but that also means that now I've got to get off my arse and get the replacement video up as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be the one that the script has got, Floorlamp has seen the basic script for that and added in his 2 pence. So yeah. And what's going on now?
Sorry, I'm laughing at Paul Daniels going, crocodile tears.
What's that supposed to mean?
Fake tears.
Yeah, I know, but...
Woo!
Oh, what?
Boo-hoo!
Like, boo-hoo,
Woeist me. Me with my moderately successful YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, still, it's still a struggle, you know. It's that ad revenue pays the rent.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just like there was a period when the channel had blown up while I was in the old shop where I was doing rather well.
Absolutely.
Because I was cashing in on the snowball of the channel whilst paying like £330 a month in rent. Now I pay this amount of money in rent, and it's a case of it's significantly higher now. You know, I need that money now. That's how much a big shop costs. So yeah, it's just the business has expanded. How it be? Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say with this conversation.
I do know it's a struggle.
I'm getting defensive again. You know.
Thankfully, I have a job that earns good money, and I don't have to rely on being popular like Mr. Awesome Goatee.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Talented. All right, Mr. Nothing is unfixable. Mr. Replace a PCH with super glue and a cocktail stick. IQ. Am I sounding self-important yet? Is IQ already on here?
Well, it's a good job I have an audience, because then my opinion matters.
Indeed.
This is the point where everything breaks. Also, you might want to change your screen resolution to not...
I'm not sure if we're at potato res or just really high DPI or just really high scaling.
The display settings was on the first one. Display settings. Hold on.
There we go. Right, IQ, please, can you not be the size of a small
There's
star?
a maximize.
Yeah, I guess. I don't want it to be maximized because then because our face will cover part of it. All right, is that detected? Lighting setup, lighting channel. Okay, yes, there we go. We have RGB.
Ta-da!
We have the Rugabers.
There we go.
Right, Rugabers are a thing.
Ta-da!
Okay. Right, I'm going to grab these fans. I'm just going to quickly plug these in and just see if they actually work.
I'm going to plug these in and explode the hub. Haha! There you go. Yes, you all want to go top left.
Thanks. Okay, let's unplug the front fans.
There we go. Whilst you play with RGB, I'm going to coffee.
Do it.
Because that's what I said before. And it didn't happen.
Okay, right.
Are they a different connector?
No, they're not. However, I plugged one in and it didn't work, but that was because I plugged in a front fan again. So, yeah.
Why don't you work? Ah.
Yes. And then I was like, why have I got too many connectors here? Okay, right.
Which fans are those?
These are light loop ones.
And what have you got in the front of the case?
SP120 Pros.
So they are better RGB?
Yes. So hypothetically, if I could be bothered, I should put these in here. I don't know if I will. I won't, because I don't. There's 4 fans in this one. We've got the back fan as well, and I've only got 3 of the light loops. I mean, I guess I could put the 3 light loops at the back and have an SP120 at the back, but I'd rather just have SP120s all over and just have them all match.
Especially as they're the ones that came with the case, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm going to put these in one of the other computers. So, but yeah. But yeah, as I say, I acquired these from a customer, and there were doubts as to if the RGB on them actually worked, but the RGB on them seems to work just fine. So I've seen what I need to see. All the LEDs on these are working. There's no problems there. So I'm gonna switch back in the case fans, and then we'll play with the lighting on those. I hope there's no spaghetti in that machine, says Spud Nugget. There's a modest amount of spaghetti. Yeah. I can't, yeah, no. Deal with it. I do a logical amount of spaghetti, where it's a case of everything is not like super zip tied back into a beautiful loom. However, cables are grouped together based on where they're going and what they're doing. So, you know, like the RGB in this case, it's kind of just flapping around, but it's there so you can easily, like there's a group of cables, those are all RGB cables. There's another bundle of cables, those are all fan power cables, you know, so it makes sense. Gotta love how people like RGB thought the idea was to look at the screen, not the main box. Yeah, maybe. I assume you have an ugly car as well, huh? God, no, I don't know what that was. Anyway, I like RGB. I think it looks pretty. That's it. I like a computer as a showpiece. That's it. I think it just looks. I think it's reasonable to have something that looks pretty. I think when you start spending money on RGB that could have been spent on performance, then that is a different case. However, it's not, a lot of the time it's really not expensive to implement RGB. Right, have I put those the right way around? Let's switch around. What I'll do, if we go to there with that, where do I need to move this to? That way. Yeah, that's fair. Oh, okay, yeah. Actually has ugly color. Yeah, okay, you know what? That's fine. Different things important to different people. Yeah. If you don't need it to look pretty, that's fair. Tell the truth, you're a hacker. Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah. I mean, I like to have my computer up on the desk and looking good. That's it. So yeah, you may cross. Okay, that'll do. Right, so lighting setup is what I want. So what I do now in iCUE, I shuffled it across so it could be, I moved it that way slightly so you could see the preview and the case kind of thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I was just moving it to the edge of the frame.
Oh, I see, yeah, fair enough. Right.
Because I was then going to sit.
Very well. Okay.
How is your latitude holding up? It is holding up well.
Yeah.
It is functioning very nicely as a machine from which we manage the stream from.
Yeah. It's yeah, it needed a new battery recently, but you know, it's don't know how old this thing is. It's, I think it's like 2015, this laptop, maybe 2016. Well, no, I think it's got a Skylake CPU in it. I think it's a 6500 something. What has this got in it again?
It has a 6440 HQ.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what, 2016, maybe 2017, something like that.
Well, 7 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So it you know, it's getting on this laptop, but it still performs well. Needed a new battery recently, and yeah, it's yeah, it's been doing well. Okay, right. So okay, so the lighting setup for this. So what we do in iCUE, I've gone to lighting setup, and what this does is it will illuminate a colored dot on every fan, so you can identify which fan is which and where they are in the setup. So I need to tell you what fans I've got. I have got SP RGB No, they're SP RGB Pro. There we go, the 8 LED version. And I have 4 fans connected. So you can tell it how many fans there are connected, and this is relevant if you're doing sequencing. So if you're doing an effect that travels through the fans, so if you're doing like a visor effect that goes up and down the fans, then it needs to know how many fans there are so it knows how far the effect needs to go before it hits the end of the chain. So I'll tell it that there are 4 fans connected. So now we've got 4 fans connected, and we can see that LED port 1 is at the bottom, 2 is yellow, 3 is green, and 4 is blue. So they are all connected, and they're all in the correct order, and they're all in the correct orientation. iCUE is actually really good these days, because if I've wired them in and they're out of order, instead of having to pull out all of my wiring, I can just reorder the fans. I can just move this one over here and just tell it that it's somewhere else. And you can also rotate the fan. So if one of the fans is rotated in order to hide the cable, you can rotate the LEDs in software so that the LEDs are all in alignment as well. And I believe that Corsair is the only software that allows you to do this. There's a reason why I still think Corsair is the best RGB. It's the only one that has this many setup tricks. So now we've got all those sorted, we'll go to lighting channel. So if I stick in, so if we just go to a flat color now, I'll show you how I set up just a classic setup I use for this, just as an example of what we could do with it. I can set a static color. So let's see, static color. So we could put in a static white, and if I set that to, say, 50% to dim it down slightly, maybe a bit less than that, like 30% or something like that. So now we have just white LED lighting, and then I could add in another layer. So if I add in another layer on top of that, and if I put in the visor effect, now we have the visor effect on top of the flat lighting. So you can have your flat wash color, and we could set in an accent color of, say, red. And now we have white lighting with a little red dot that travels through the fans. Or what was the one that I usually use? Infinity. Oh, rotary stack. I think the Infinity is the one that I use. Yeah, that's the one I like. The Infinity one is good. So if we set that to blue. So now we have that little rotating blue dot that's just doing little infinity circles through the fans. And again, this is why it's important to tell it how many fans you've got, what order they're in, and what rotation they are, so the dot travels up through the fans properly. Because if the fans were out of order, you might find it jumps around between the fans because the software doesn't know the physical layout of the fans. So the setup that I used to have on this case was I had the static color set to purple, and I had my infinity effect set to red. And so now we had this purple wash with the red accent traveling through it. And you could have that go really fast, so it whizzes up and down. Or for me personally, I think animations can be very distracting, so I like to have the effect set quite slow. So you can have it moving just very slowly. So it doesn't catch your eye when you're looking at the screen. It doesn't make you look at it. But if you do actually stop and look at the computer to appreciate it, you just see that effect moving through the fans, and I think it looks really good. So yeah, so that was the setup I used to have on this one. I don't know what I want to do with it. Oh, the next thing we need to do as well is I want to try and integrate the motherboard RGB, because the motherboard has got quite a lot of RGB on it. The I/O shield, the Republic of Gamers logo underneath the CPU, the PCI Express slots, and the PCH all light up. And oh yeah, so do the power start and reset buttons as well. So normally we would have to install Asus AuraSync to manage that. However, I believe there is a plugin and we can actually hook this into iCUE to get control of it in iCUE. So I'm going to find that. So I'm going to go, let's see, what am I looking for? iCUE AuraSync. set up Asus motherboard integration in iQue. Let's see. Oh god, do we have to install Armory Crate? Armory Crate only needs to be installed to set up integration. It should not be run at the same time. Okay. It does need to be installed. I think it is already installed actually, so I think that's fine. Open iQue, select Asus motherboarding devices section. Okay, we're not there yet. Ah, I see. Enable in-game lighting effects in Armory Crate. Okay, we got Armory Crate. Armory Crate. I don't know how you spell Armory Crate. Yeah, I'm spelling that right. Okay, no, it's not installed. Okay, fine. Time to install Armory Crate, everyone. Reject. Oh, I hate Armory Crate so much. It's just there's so much unnecessary stuff in this. This is also going to completely butcher the RGB setup for the Lianli when I put this SSD back in the Lianli. All right, to desktop, that's fine. That'll do.
So what was that? Install Armory Crate and what?
Aura Creator, I think. So Armory Crate, yeah, and Aura Creator. So Armory Crate is the Asus motherboard management software that does full motherboard management, including RGB. Mm-hmm. And it's annoying because you don't need all the motherboard management stuff. The only reason why most people download it is just so they can manage their RGB, and it's massive overkill just for the RGB. Aura Creator is a very advanced RGB software, and that is for when you want to do, like if you're building a boutique PC that for a show, that allows you to do very grandiose sequencing effects and light shows and stuff like that. So if you were building an actual boutique PC, that would be of interest to you. For general purpose computers and home computers, it's kind of unnecessary. And I think like it does very good effects, but also I believe it's very CPU intensive as well. That's the other problem with a lot of RGB software, and another reason why I think Corsair have got a really good balance. By default, Corsair RGB software is quite light on the CPU. It has a mode where you can tell it to be smoother, and it will increase the refresh rate of the LEDs and allow you to do more stuff with them at the expense of more CPU. So if you want to, you can expend some CPU cycles on that. But most sensible people would not run that option. So yeah, it has a poser mode, but it's not on by default. Whereas most of the other software has a nasty habit of being just awfully CPU intensive, which is very frustrating. This is taking ages to install. Did I finish my coffee? There is a slight bit.
There you go.
Ha. Nope, you lied.
Is it possible to do a close-up of the case?
It is. Are the people asking for a better shot?
So yeah. There has been a question of, may we have a close-up of the case?
You may, especially because now I want to do the motherboard stuff. That makes sense. Oh no, I've just seen the case from just the right angle to see all the dust that's on the filter at the moment. All right, okay, switch to bench cam. Non-inverted.
Boop.
Okay, where do we need to move? This way?
Yes, you need to come in closer.
Yeah.
And rotate.
Are you at 90 degrees?
No, I'm at 78.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
And you need to rotate.
Say toward you or toward the front?
Yes, to me, slightly. There you go. And then if you move physically to the right, there you go.
There we go. I'm just going to deal with this super quick.
I am going to hide my crimes.
Could you mute me, please?
Speak again. That one's me. That one's you. You are muted. Whee! See, I think RGB power buttons would kind of make sense because we had tricolor LEDs or bicolor LEDs back in the day, and having an RGB power button actually makes sense to me. So you could have the statuses through your power button.
Yes. Yep. I'm sad that the bicolor power LEDs went the way of the Dodo, because it made a lot of sense for them to be, and like a lot of OEM computers still have them, where a lot of Dell computers are white when on and orange in standby. But yeah, you just don't see that in other systems.
Is that just cropping?
Down to 65 degrees, yes, I think it does just crop in, which is why I basically never use 65 degrees. I think it might do for 78 as well.
Pretty sure it is just cropping.
Yeah. However, it's 90 degrees does distort the outer part of the picture quite a lot, which is why I don't use it unless I need it. So, do you reckon this is stuck?
Make sure IQ is actually quit. And the other RGB softwares?
Nothing else running. Yeah. I might reboot it, quit any RGB software, and try and install it again.
Yeah.
Because that does feel like it's getting hung up trying to start a service.
Absolutely. Which way around have you got all the fans? It's intake and exhaust, isn't it?
Yeah,
just
that's right.
Straight in and out.
Front intake, rear and top exhaust.
Oh, you've got
top mount water cooler.
Ah, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't front mount the water cooler. The radiator would have gone on the front. However, I've top mounted just because that makes the front intake fans more visible. So it's nice. Well, for this setup, it's nicer aesthetically. In a bigger case, I prefer front mount radiators because having the radiator at the top kind of squashes in and starts covering the motherboard up, which I'm not a fan of. But yeah. Right. Let's wait for everything to start and then quit it again. Go away, Discord. Go away, Steam. Go away, OpenRGB. There we go. Right. Desktop.
Yeah, the only review I've seen of the new Corsair laptop is DeBauer's. And DeBauer's...
Corsair made a laptop? Oh, I didn't see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's got, effectively, the Stream Deck buttons under the screen.
That's neat.
So you've got 10 buttons that you can assign stuff to, like Stream Deck stuff.
Hmm.
Good night, Paul.
See you, Paul. Thanks for coming as always. Yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, apparently though the IQ software has issues and crashes coming out of sleep.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah.
And just little bits like that.
Mm. Yeah, considering Corsair control all of the hardware there, that's kind of an unacceptable situation.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Like you make this thing in its entirety. This is not.
I will disown you, Teltag.
What's he doing now?
Getting a gaming laptop instead of a new PC.
No, don't. This is the problem. Like, this is what I was about to say of it.
I will find you, Teltag, and I will hurt you.
I don't understand who is streaming off of a gaming laptop. It's just so not the right kit for it. The only possible reason I can see for it is for people who need to stream from site or stuff. I think what bothers me is I think a lot of streaming kit seems to be marketed toward ambitious streamers, not professional streamers, if you see what I mean. Like, they're making this laptop and they're like, this one laptop is a complete streaming kit. Buy this laptop and you can be a streamer too. And it's like,
yeah.
But anyone who's remotely gotten into streaming will know that a laptop is a terrible thing to be streaming off of, because your webcam is going to be down there, which now means you need a separate webcam somewhere else. So you're going to get a different webcam. And it's just like, you know, you're not going, like, gaming on a laptop keyboard is already unpleasant. So you're going to want an external keyboard and mouse, probably. You're definitely going to want an external mouse, and then, like, you're going to need lights. And by the time you've got all the gear, you're like, well, this isn't a mobile setup, so I may as well have had a desktop. And just like, I don't understand why gaming laptops exist. There. I mean, I
understand why gaming laptops exist.
Yeah, okay, but
I don't understand the push to make everything streaming versions.
That as well, I guess, yeah.
But in the same way as, you know, it was the same thing that happened in the early 2000s with every edition of something being upgraded to the gamer edition.
Yeah, that as well.
It's the new buzzword for selling stuff.
Yeah, that's what bothers me, is that
because it's just a buzzword for selling stuff. It's the same marketing words that we've used forever.
Yeah, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be streamers or aspire to be streamers, but I dislike the concept that people are pushing that anyone can make it as a professional streamer. You know, I have a modest. I was about to say a modest audience. I have a decently sized audience, and I don't make a meaningful amount of money streaming. You know, now granted, that's because that's not where most of my audience is, I guess.
Also, a case of you have not done the things that would make you money from your audience.
I don't know.
Funnily enough, I was having a conversation with someone else about stuff and things that you'll need to remind me about to have after we're no longer live.
Fair enough.
Only because it doesn't involve sensitive details for you, it involves sensitive details for other companies.
Oh, right, yeah, fair enough, yeah. Yeah, but I was going to say, I think it's also, this just relates to, like, there's been a lot of hubbub recently about websites where you can get, you know, Tyler Ninja Blevins' guide to being a streamer kind of thing. And there's just, I don't know, I think there's this implication of, like, take this course and you too can be a professional streamer. And it's like earning a living from streaming. It's not that simple, not by a long shot.
It's also, as with every profession and every money-making activity and so on, it isn't what it seems.
Yeah, and I dislike the current implication that everyone can be a pro streamer, which is, and like, as I say, I'm not trying to gatekeep here. That, like, really, like, for reals, I'm not trying to gatekeep. I'm trying to say from experience that streaming is not a viable job unless you're huge. You know, small and medium will not pay your bills. And I think there's this implication that you could do this, like, whereas by comparison, if you go and do a forklift training course to get your license to drive a forklift, you can go and get a job driving a forklift and instantly be earning a living wage. You know, that is a course that pays for itself. And I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say with this. That's the problem. But I feel like a lot of people making these courses are doing so, are taking advantage of kids believing that they're going to be the next ninja. But I don't know. Is that just saying? Am I just saying don't bother having dreams? Is that what I'm saying here?
No. What? Yes.
That's not what I want to say, but that's kind of how it's coming across.
Yes, I can understand how you could interpret what you were saying as that. Yeah. However, I think the far kinder and far more accurate interpretation of what you're saying is a case of it can happen, but with all of these things, it's a very small percentage of people for whom it does happen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to the kid who plays football every weekend on the rec, don't play football, you'll never make money as a football player.
Yeah.
Because they're having fun. Yeah. Because they're enjoying playing football. That's fine. If you're streaming and you're enjoying streaming for the sake of streaming, good. Keep doing it. Do more. Get better. Absolutely. But don't labour at it purely for the reason of you think one day you'll make it big and make money, lots and lots of money from it. And that's the same reason for anything, I think. The reason for doing it isn't making lots of money from it. It's because you enjoy it. It's because it's fun. It's because it gives you something in its present form. And if it doesn't presently give you something to make you keep wanting to do it, you should probably not do it.
And I think therein lies the problem, is that I feel like a lot of these sort of courses or seminars or whatever you want to call them, I think a lot of them focus a lot upon marketing, branding, and networking and stuff like that, which it kind of makes sense for them to focus on that, because it's a case of that's what professional content creation is about to an extent. However, I feel like it's disingenuous that should be the first and that should be the one-stop course. I feel like it's far more appropriate. My God, how long does this take? Anyway, I feel like it's far more appropriate that if you're going to make a course teaching people how to stream, the course should focus far more on the tech side of it, and how to it should focus more about teaching you about how to be able to play and commentate at the same time, and think about what kind of content you want to make. And instead of about how to sell your content, more about how to make content, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Also part of it is how to make that content somewhat actually watchable.
Exactly that. But how to make yourself more enjoyable to watch, because if you do that, build it and they will come, kind of thing. Instead of to an extent, I guess.
But that doesn't sell well and is nuanced, as Teltec says, and takes effort on the side of the creator, and doesn't allow you to make a single PDF that you sell to people for 25 quid a time.
And
ultimately, it's a case of 9 times out of 10 those books are effectively MLMs.
Like, I have to admit, I have not watched Tyler's How to Be a Professional Streamer series, and also there was a chap who did a video on it that has gone viral, criticizing all of these streamers that are making these courses at the moment, and I have not watched that video either. However, my understanding is that certainly in Ninja's video, he talks a lot about how his marketing strategy was to have blue hair, kind of thing, and it's just like the criticism of that series is that it comes across as being extremely low effort and not actually nuanced and stuff like that, which I think is...
Well, of course.
And I think that's actually what I have a problem with. I'm just looking for faults to complain about, But yeah, thankfully this is finished, so I can stop complaining about that and go back to talking about RGB.
That's finished installing, but now it needs to initialize.
Now there's another progress bar. Did I mention that I hate Armory Crate? We've installed it. We've gone through a setup. Now we've gone through initialization. Okay, now we're up to the EULA. My God, imagine if... Oh, I have to... I've scrolled the... Okay. Privacy policy.
What happens if you click I do not agree?
That's a good question. Oh.
Interesting.
Apparently I can, all right. Log on to your Asus account. Never show again. Go to user center. Okay. Aura sync. Maximus 9 formula. There we go. Right. Oh, there, look at that. That does actually have a performance mode. It may optimize the smoothness of lighting effect, but will increase CPU usage. That is also there as an option. All right, so now we can do the thing. Okay. So according to the Corsair website, I needed to allow things to thing. Think apps. I don't want to do any of that. Right. I'm now going to just quit Armory Crate and see if IQ can see the motherboard. IQ. It can't. Go to settings. Let's see if the thing is actually thing. Aha! Asus motherboard. Plugin has no settings. Fine.
You are using a reasonably old version of IQ as well.
Is this IQ? Oh yeah, this
because
is IQ
you're on 3.38 and they're on 4.21.
Yeah. Oh, I thought this one had a newer version. That. Why does this have ancient IQ installed? Okay, we might need to upgrade IQ. Oh no, there we go. It's picked it up now. The motherboard is available. Lighting effects. I can now. Cool. Right. Add new lighting effects. So, are we on? Yeah. So we've got that. So now we can.
Purple?
Yeah, so now we've installed Armory Crate, so the plugins and stuff is now installed for thing. And yeah, there we go. So I can now control rear I/O, which is going to be that bit up there.
Hold on, I am swapping to the bench cam. There you go, bench cam.
Yep. So we've got rear I/O, which is there, flashing. Center, which is the ROG logo, which you can't see because it's just behind the tubes. PCH, which is under the graphics card, and RGB strip 1 and 2. That is going to be the analog 12-volt headers on the board that we don't have anything connected to right now. So yeah. So what I could do, I want to change this to just, if I change this to a static color, and if I set that to purple, that now means that the motherboard will now match the wash lighting in the case. I could also set that to red. So what would look really good is if I set the motherboard to be all red, and then if I had the RGB strip in here as well, I'd set that to purple, so we'd have purple wash lighting, purple fans, and red accent colors. And that would make for a really nice mix of color. If I turn that around so the motherboard is head on, you can just about see that. So actually, is the back I/O the top as well? Yeah, the back I/O also does the start-stop buttons in the top right of the board. So yeah. So now it's just a question of what color do we want to do this computer in? Part of me wants to just do
green and purple.
Green and purple. Are you sure? Which one?
I mean, it's Winston.
All right. Purple is the wash, or green is the wash?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do
green is the wash.
Set everything to green.
Also, I'm going to fix the camera being level.
Whoop. The camera is no longer askew.
There we go.
Grey and brown. Those aren't colours.
Grey and brown.
Yeah. I've got
golden brown, texture like sun.
Golden brown, texture like sun.
Through my mind, naked he runs.
All right. Anyway. Right, so that's green wash and a purple. If I set the motherboard to be purple, why are we doing this? I'm not convinced about this combination, if I'm honest. Set the motherboard to purple. Green and purple. I don't know. I don't think that's awful, but it's not my cup of tea.
It looks all right.
Yeah.
The green looks really good in person.
Yeah.
The green on the camera does not look good. Just because the exposures...
Have we got too much light? I think we've got a bit too much light in here as well. It's really difficult to film.
What if you turn off this light? Okay. Just that one.
What does that do for us?
Nothing specifically. Might as well leave it on.
Okay, I'm going to turn off the ceiling lights a sec, because that often... I find when I'm recording videos, turning off the ceiling lights often helps a lot. What does that do for us?
Turn it on again? Yeah, that's good. I think if we possibly take the standing light as well. Where does that take us? Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, our faces aren't visible at the moment anyway.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And if we turned off the camera light, then we wouldn't be able to see the computer components.
Yeah.
So yeah, that actually looks pretty good, actually. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So okay. So another color scheme that I use. So the Lianli's color scheme is what is it? It's purple with turquoise. That's it. So let's try purple with turquoise. Where do I need to be? So let's take that to turquoise.
Which looks white.
Oh, has that just gone white on camera? Yeah, very cold white. Oh, the static color needs to be purple, and then the infinity loop needs to be turquoise. That's the way around I want it. So that gives us
I know, we'll turn off auto exposure and sort out the well, where is the color temperature option? Oh, there's auto white balance there. Hold on.
Yeah, take off auto white balance.
Hold on.
Normally I have it on manual white balance, but I switched it off earlier on for just to do a specific shot. And then what if I change the motherboard to be turquoise now, or just parts of it maybe?
I think that's what you want. 44. 2 seconds. I'm just seeing what the light is. 42. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks kind of neat. Having the motherboard on turquoise, the fans on purple, and just that turquoise rotary effect. So yeah, I might roll with that anyway. It's the same as what the Lianli uses, but that's the quote unquote that's the vaporwave look.
There you go.
And I quite like the vaporwave look myself. So yeah,
that works.
Yeah, yeah. RGB is really difficult to film. If we put the main camera in front of it, we could probably do better, but that's going to be too much.
Yeah, so we can lock off the.
Yeah. Although hypothetically, what we could do is no, it would require moving it all now. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I was going to say we could probably just aim it down and zoom slightly. Or have you got a prime on there at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind then. Yeah. No, ignore that. Anyway. Yeah.
Yes.
Blue. Anyway, that's about it. Yeah, should we do that super chat and then I think we're done with this now. I think we're finished. So we'll just we'll cover questions and stuff like that, and we're about done.
I will swap back to that one and see what we look like. Yes, whoa. Absolutely. Woo. Anyway, turnip gain. Oh my goodness,
turnip gaining turnips.
Yes,
big turnip gains. Sorry.
Getting swole. Anyway,
sorry.
Turnip Gaming 97 sends us a super chat of £20.
Thank you very much, Turnip Gaming.
The finest British pound. Good evening, lads. Sort of a tech question. If we keep getting hot summers like this year, do you think the government will have to make all British housing, old and new, have to have air conditioning fitted? The closest I can see happening with that is a change to building regs and making it a requirement for the prerequisites to be installed. So if someone wants it, they can easily tap onto it. In the same way as EV chargers are now mandated to be supported by new builds. So all of the conduiting has to be run, the fuse box has to be set up for it, and so on. But they don't actually have to fit a charger.
Yeah,
that's the closest I can see happening.
At the moment, like in most American, like I'm speaking from ignorance here, but in most American houses, the windows would support a window air conditioner. So in an American house, you know, if you need air conditioning, you can just go out and buy a window unit and just plonk it in the window. Whereas in the UK, our windows don't work that way. There is no such thing that you can put in a UK house, which is one of the reasons why we can't just get air conditioning. The only choice we would have for a drop-in thing without something that would require actual installation would be a portable unit that has a little pipe that you've got to run out somewhere. And even then, you'd have to actually get up somewhere to run that pipe out to, which is the problem I've got in here. Like, I would love to get an air conditioner for the shop at the moment, but there's no just drop-in unit I can do, and I've got nowhere to run the hose to if I had a portable unit. So I could see some movement toward that direction, making it so it would be possible to fit a unit somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying about. I can see that being mandated by a change in building regs, making it so it is set up so if you wanted to pay for an install, you could more easily have an install.
Yeah.
Because obviously the benefit we have with having it done is it was super easy for us because we've got a fully detached house.
Yeah.
We've got a fully detached house. We've got an entire wall of a property we can just slap a external unit on and then run piping wherever we want. If you're in a block of flats, you can't do that.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't own it,
Yeah.
so you can't be drilling big holes in walls.
Yeah.
You don't have any wall space to slap it on anyway. And also, it's probably a case that part of a flat is going to be 15 meters away from an external wall.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely thinking that I'm going to buy some kind of portable air conditioner because, like, it looks like these hot summers are here to stay. Based on all of the predictions, on the assumption that we've seen the last of the hot weather now, it's going to be back next year, and we're going to have at least another week or two of just the unbearable heat.
Yeah, I would suggest, obviously, a case of buying it in the middle of winter.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And also, I'll buy it in the middle of winter and just, then I'll have plenty of time to sit and root it somewhere.
Yeah.
It would be nice to buy some unit that can do hot and cold. But
I would be amazed if all of them couldn't, because it's simply a return valve.
Yeah.
It's simply the sake of a return valve that turns it from a hot to a cold.
See, it's supposed to be that simple. I just can't help but assume that most portable units will not have a heat mode.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a case of that would be nice, just because also, like, in the winter when I do need a little bit of heating support, it would just be nice to be able to use, because of obviously an air conditioner is a heat pump, it's more efficient. Although, no, that much being said, okay, so air conditioners are really efficient for cooling.
Yes.
Are they more efficient than electric for heating as well?
Yeah, but
because obviously an electric heater is 100% efficient.
Yes, they are not more efficient.
Yes.
As a statement, as a percentage of efficiency, because obviously
you cannot be more than 100%
efficient. Yeah. However,
they can move
their
more
ability
heat.
to move
energy
is greater than the energy usage of an electric heater to get the same amount of heating.
Yes.
They are able to move more heat per watt.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Thus, if I bought a unit that can do hot and cold, it would also lower my heating bills.
Yes, assuming you were able to dump the cold outside.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. In either case, for a portable unit, I'm assuming that I'm running a hose to the outside.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Obviously a portable unit that is recycling internal air, no, that doesn't work. That literally doesn't work.
It won't do anything.
Yeah, all you're doing is making one part of the room hot and one part of the room cold, and then the air will mix anyway.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that doesn't actually do anything. You can stand in front of it and be like, oh, look, it's blowing cold air at me, but it's also blowing hot air out the back of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
But yes, it is a case that I had the specific numbers for my AC unit, where it gave me the coefficient of heat. The coefficient of performance. Sorry, that's what it's called, COPs, for heating and cooling, depending on external temperatures. And it was a case that, like, my unit for expected winter temperatures was going to be something like 2.5 times. So for each watt of electricity used, it would move 2.5 watts of heat.
Damn. See, that's a lot, because, for example, I'm using an electric heater in here at the moment, and I would expect to have that on the low setting, so it would be 1,000-watt heater. So theoretically, if based on that, I could get the same amount of effective heating from 500 watts, which is half the power.
Well, less than 500 watts.
Well,
yeah,
it would
because
be
it's
even less. But
yeah,
even if we pretend that, even if we assume that you were only getting a COP of 2, I would still be using half the power. And because we're talking, because we're moving in 500 or 1 kilowatt increments here, and given how expensive power is about to get, that's a big deal.
That's the main reason why I wanted the aircon units installed at home. Wasn't actually for the aircon; it was for the heating in the winter.
Yeah,
because if they can move 2.5 watts of heat per watt of electricity used, that's a massive saving, and also it stops us burning gas.
Yeah, because by the same token, like, I need to have a look to see how expensive these things would be, because something like this would save me a lot of money at home, because at home I have electric heating.
Yeah.
And this shop doesn't get too cold because it's enclosed on all sides.
Yeah.
However, my flat at home does get cold in the winter,
yeah.
and I do spend a lot of money heating it.
Yeah.
So yeah, having something at home that would be more efficient, quote unquote, more effective than an electric heater would be very good. Yeah. Because I've got no gas at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a case.
Nope, I'm gonna have to lay it down.
That we're obviously expecting that the gas unit price is going to go up more than the electric unit price, effectively.
Yeah.
Making it more efficient to use electricity over gas for heating. More cost effective. Even if you have, the super efficient condensing boilers and all of that stuff, the cost effectiveness will be to use the electricity, especially when using air source heat pumps and things like that. And if we hadn't just had our gas boiler replaced, I say just in the past couple of years, I would very much have just gone, let's just get a ground source heat pump.
Yeah.
We don't need a ground source heat pump because air temperatures in the UK are more than high enough, but it's a case of because we can.
Yeah.
And I'm in the very fortuitous position of being the category of solidly because we can.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is my social responsibility to buy the stuff that is expensive, but benefits other people as well as myself, because I have the capacity to afford it.
Yeah, and like you say, because it's a detached house and stuff like that, it is the principal, it's the principal example of this is the place to do it on. Whereas, I'm in a rented flat at home and this is a rented shop. I don't want to I can't do big installations at home, and I don't want to do big installations here because I don't own the building.
Yeah, I mean, chucking in an aircon unit like I've got in this shop would be close to zero effort.
No, fair enough. Yeah.
Because have you seen a photo of my actual unit?
Not yet.
My internal unit. I'll show you.
I assume it's a mini split.
But yeah, it's like that, and then like that, and then you've got a box like this on the outside wall, and you could easily just stick that there, run the pipe straight out the other wall, and done. And it would actually be really easy for you to have one in here.
That's interesting.
And it would be, I don't know, 1,500 quid.
Really?
Installed, probably. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because us having 3 rooms done with a 47,000 BTU unit was $4,000 installed.
That's not as much as I thought it was. I thought systems like this would be looking for 5 figures.
No. $4,000 with a 42,000 BTU unit.
Yeah, that
and
is
a 42k BTU unit is a big boy unit.
Yeah, because also for here, a portable unit that I've been referring to, what's that going to cost me? 500 quid for something that can
250 quid.
Yeah,
250,
that's
300 for the bottom tier, but just above absolute cheapest is 250, 300 quid, and they're 9,000 BTU.
Yeah,
which is not bad, but I don't know if 9,000 BTU is actually enough. Yeah, because I don't know what a BTU is.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
In real units, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose at that point I'd have to start asking myself the big question of how long am I actually expecting to be here for? Because I could get permission to install something like that because. This isn't a listed building, so all I'd need is the landlord's permission. And the landlord, if I said I want to install air conditioning into your premises, they're going to be like, sure thing, that's improving my building. It's the same as when I installed the water heater. I didn't even ask permission to that because what are they going to do? Say no, we don't want you to have a water heater in here. I've added value to their premises.
Yeah, but it's also the case of it's reasonably easy to take the aircon out and take it with you if you wanted to. I suppose,
yeah.
If you were going to be
petty that guy,
like that, you could reasonably easily do that. But it's also the case of you're talking about £2,000.
That's right.
And if you're here for the same amount of time as you're in the first shop, that's less than £200 a year.
Yeah, it's very easy to think sort of, oh well, I don't want to think long term because I might not be here in long term. But then I was doing that for years in the old shop, and I was there for 10 years.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I have no intention of going anywhere. I'm planning on being here for the long haul.
Yeah. And it did limit you.
Yes, I could have had things cheaper, and I could have done more.
Yeah.
But as I say, I was always like, I always had my foot halfway out the door. But then in a way, that was for good reason, because I should have left that place a lot sooner. I just didn't get myself into the position to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm super impressed with our AC install just because it's
yeah. I have to admit,
so nice having it on there.
Yeah.
And like, just to show you as well, there's an app as well for it.
Oh right, yeah.
And it's like,
I'm just gonna switch off.
Oh yeah,
that because it doesn't need to be that.
So like that. And this just gives me, in real time, the temperature outside at home is apparently 20.4 C. The temperature in my room is 22.3 C, and the humidity is 63%.
Nice.
And, you know, it just gives you stuff like that, and you can turn it on and off and go, oh, actually, I want it in drying mode because I know it's been raining, so the humidity is going to be high or something like that. So you can just set it to drying mode, and you walk in the door and it's 47% humidity, and you just go, crisp.
That's the thing, because that's what a lot of people forget, that when you have air conditioning, it's more than just having heating or cooling. It's climate control.
Yeah.
And this is what people forget about the difference in car of having a heater and or air conditioning. Climate control is a different thing, because at that point you are controlling your climate, not just the temperature. And there's a lot of mileage in that.
How big's 140 meters cubed?
I don't know. I mean, yeah.
That's going to be...
How big are these rooms? These rooms are... Hang on a minute. We can probably figure this out.
I was going to say, yeah. Let's just work this out based off of this room, and then I can start getting some scaling.
3, 4, 5. These rooms are probably... Let's be generous and overspec. These are 6 by 6 by
3.
3, I guess. Yeah, what's the standard ceiling height? These rooms are 6 by 6 by 3, and there's 2 of them, and that's the 2 main rooms.
Yeah.
So let's work on that.
6 by 7.6 by 3 is 140. Oh, cool. So basically, this room plus a meter and a bit of that room, effectively, is that
140.
Yeah. You need 28k BTU to raise it by 10 Celsius. Fine. Okay. So based off of that, doing some horrid maths, a 9k unit would be able to do 5C. That's not quite how that maths works. However, as a fudge, yeah, you're talking about 5C of temperature control.
Yeah.
For that number of units, assuming you've got a 28k BTU leak, effectively.
Yeah, which you wouldn't. This is the problem.
But
you have to then figure out how much temperature you're losing.
Yeah. But it's a case of that's roughly the area of control they kind of expected. But yeah. Yes, no, I'm fully aware of what a cubic meter is. I was trying to visualize how large a room of 140 cubic meters was to then be able to scale that to the rooms that we were talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, mini split heat pumps are far superior in every regard. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mini splits are amazing, and I didn't realize how amazing they were.
There's a reason why you see them everywhere. Yeah. But as I say, I think I would give again, given that hot summers are upon us, and I do need some heating in the winter, it feels like a no-brainer to go down that route.
Yeah. Especially as you've got suspended ceilings.
Yeah.
You could easily run the piping just straight through. Yeah. No fancy hiding, nothing. Literally just go whoosh straight across.
Yeah. It's a question on whether I'd run it through just to this room or to that room as well.
I mean, for 500 quid sort of difference for internal units.
Have 2 outputs and two.
I can tell you how much a unit is. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
An internal unit is An internal unit is whatever 1/3 of 1700 is.
Fair enough.
£566.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, for the sake of £566.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's food for thought. Yeah, this is like, I don't have that money lying around.
No, absolutely.
It would definitely be an investment. But yeah. I think if money came along, and basically what that means is if sponsorships came along, that would start definitely becoming very realistic.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, it's not a case of saying like, oh, this is necessary, or oh, you have to do this. But it's just a case of conceptualizing the costs.
Yes.
And they're actually so much lower than they were,
I was going to say,
10 years ago.
Yeah, the value of this entire conversation is the fact that, you know, a system like this just straight away is already considerably less than I thought it was. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
If you said, oh, you should get air conditioning, an air conditioning installation with mini splits and stuff, I would be thinking, oh, that's what, 5,000, 7,000, that kind of money. Yeah. That's the kind of numbers that would pop into my head. Yeah. So just immediately quoting numbers like 1,500, £2,000, that kind of area, I'm just like, oh, that's actually like, that's not difficult to find that money. I could credit card that, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't right now. Thing. However, hypothetically, I could just be like, cool, I'll get out my Amazon card. Bang, it's done.
Yeah,
I have it. It's mine, you know.
Yeah.
And now suddenly I've made this investment, and now not only are my heating bills going to be less, but I will not be cooking in the summer anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which means I'm more comfortable, which means I can work more, and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not cheap, and I'm not wishing to sell it as cheap, because it isn't, but it is significantly more attainable than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Again, this is running off of the prices that I have been given by my friend who installed it.
Yeah.
That's actual installed prices.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, you know, for our setup, where our setup was very easy, because I was just like, mount it on this wall that is 40 square meters, somewhere where is convenient.
Yeah.
Install these units somewhere in these rooms, which is convenient.
Yeah.
Run the piping where it is convenient, because I was not overly bothered about where the stuff goes, as long as it's in the room and providing effective heating and cooling for the rooms. So yeah.
Interesting.
Also, yeah, exactly. The electricity savings potentially overrunning electric heaters.
Yeah, as I say, the electric heater, certainly in here, the electric heater isn't too bad, but it's still, you know, electric heating is still expensive, whatever way you spin it. Yeah, the home is where it's the killer, and I'm not planning on getting air conditioning at home. Although, again, if I could find a portable unit that can heat as well, because the other thing as well is, like, at home, I mean, it'd be awkward, but yeah, I could figure out, I don't know. This is giving me food for thought. I'm going to do some thinking. I'm going to go and look at certainly for home, some mobile units, and just see what options are out there. Just because, again,
don't forget they are called portable, but they aren't actually that portable.
Yes,
it's like the 9000 BTU ones are like this tall.
Yeah,
and like this wide.
Although I wouldn't need anything that big for home. But
don't forget though that 9000 BTU is this room worth of.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget. This room is bigger than my entire flat.
But just a case of you can't scale much lower than that.
Yeah.
Really, because this room works out to roughly the effective area of your flat, doesn't it?
Yeah, but also, you know, that's assuming that I need to keep... yeah, I guess. But
so like, just a case of you'll need to be aware of that. So don't go, oh yes, I've got this 1000 BTU unit.
Yeah,
because just
scaling. Yeah, I need to look at what the options are for the small ones, because you know, like the thing is my point being like in the winter, I don't heat the entire flat. I don't heat the bathroom. I don't heat the corridor. I don't need to. I don't need to go and answer my front door in my t-shirt.
No, absolutely, no, of course, but just comment of scale. But
stuff to think about.
Indeed. Super chat. I'm going to read that as Fuffens.
Fair enough.
Do you have an improvement on?
Yeah, no, Fuffens is what I'm seeing there as well. Yeah.
Excellent. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. Anyway, 100 Swedish krona. It saddens me to see you guys lacking some proper cider. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well. Yep, no, we don't have any today just because neither of us brought any.
Basically, yeah.
But yes, which is a shame because this would have been a good stream for a cider, but it doesn't matter.
Psh, indeed. But yes, just to answer your statement or question, Max, the reason why we're saying that the electricity bills would effectively go down is because these units are moving heat as opposed to generating heat. So they can actually move more heat per unit of electricity used than...
say an electric heater.
Yeah.
And it's quite a difficult concept to wrap your head around because it's difficult to, like, if you've got an electric heater by definition is 100% efficient because even the energy wasted in the cord to the heater is still heating the room.
Yeah.
So it's literally 100% efficient to all intent and purpose. And it's difficult to imagine anything being better than that. But the thing is that if you could pick up heat and carry it, you would expend less effort moving the heat than you would creating the heat. And that is what a air conditioner or that can also reverse and heat is actually doing. Well, that's what an air conditioner is doing. It's picking up heat out of the room and moving it outside.
Yeah.
And it can do this and they are absolutely incredible because an air conditioning system in the reverse cycle, so it's heating instead of cooling, it can heat a room while it is getting the heat from like 5 degrees C outside. It can still get heat because 5 degrees C is still significantly higher than absolute zero. So there's still heat out there and it can still move that into the room.
It is a heat condenser.
Yeah. And it's a mind-blowing thing. Go and watch Technology Connections has lots of videos about air conditioners and the refrigeration cycle and latent heat.
Yes.
And they really, when you watch those videos and you see just how absolutely amazing air conditioners are, you realize the fact of, yes, you can achieve greater than 100% efficiency.
Yeah.
It's not, but
yeah,
it's effective. It's more effective.
Yeah.
So you get the same amount of heat moved into the room than for less energy used.
Yeah. Also, the other reason why we're saying it would reduce the electricity bill is because the heating presently is electricity.
Yeah.
So it's a case of electricity is already used for the heating. So if you can reduce the amount of electricity needed for that heating, the electricity bill obviously goes down.
That's right.
If that doesn't work, obviously, if you're using gas for heating, because your electricity bill will go up because you're using more electricity than you were. But the plan is for you to be using less total energy because you're no longer burning that gas. But it's one bill goes down, one bill goes up.
Yeah. Theoretically, though, hopefully one bill will go down by a large amount, but the other bill will only go up by a small amount.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, net gain. So yes, but however, anyone who has paid for electric heating will know the pain of how expensive electric heating is.
Yeah.
Which is why it's close to my heart because I have electric heating here and at home. And yeah, having a 2 kilowatt, like in the old shop, I could have a 2 kilowatt heater running all day and still be cold because the old shop was
very leaky.
It was so drafty there may as well have not been windows, or rather the windows may as well have been open, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so for there I was just for 8 hours a day, 2 kilowatt heater running. That's a lot of kilowatt hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas in here it's less because it's a bigger space, but it's also very enclosed, so it loses less heat. So I have the same heater on low modes, which is 1 kilowatt, and that clicks on and off during the day. So let's pretend that it's effectively 500 watts all day instead, 500 watt hours. Wait.
No, it's running at 500 watts for 8 hours, therefore 500 times 8 watt hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to.
As opposed to 2,000 times 8 watt hours.
Yeah. However, again, a heat pump might be able to do the same amount of work with 200 watts instead of 500 watts. So I've gained the same level of heating while only using 200 watts instead of 500 watts. So yeah, it's difficult to convey concisively.
Absolutely. And it's also a case of then, obviously, the other thing as well is that I want to...
I'm turn the light on.
Yeah, it's the other thing as well. The reason why I want it and move it to electricity demand is because I am installing solar and battery storage and so on. And that's the reason why I want to move it, because then obviously it becomes free electricity.
Yeah.
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 However, I feel like here is a good point for us to stop.
Yep, I think we're all done here, aren't we? So, yep, we finished this we finished this at the 2-hour marker. We actually did this in a timely fashion.
Indeed.
So, yeah, good. All right. Cool, that's all. Any last things that were in the chat? No? Cool. Yep.
Just commenting on AC being wonderful.
Yes. Yep. And yeah,
absolutely.
It's not something you see in the UK very often, but I think that the point of this conversation and the takeaway that I think should be from this conversation is you should probably look into air conditioning. It might not be as expensive as you think.
It is, yes.
Given the way that everything is going, it's probably a good idea to get it. And also remember, it's not just about cooling down, but also it's about it's about less energy intensive heating in winter. Because also I think a lot of people think of air conditioning as something as selfish as expending more energy to be cooler, but you can make up for that by expending less energy to be warm in the winter.
Yeah.
So it can be a net neutral. So,
it's also the other thing as well is just the fact of because it is reducing the humidity of the air, it makes a higher temperature more comfortable. So you actually can run an aircon quite happily at 24, 25C, but because the humidity is low, it feels very comfortable.
Yes.
Whereas if you're actually just reducing temperature, you might need it to be 18 or 19C to feel that level of comfort.
It's sticky.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a final super chat.
Yeah.
I can't remember how we decided.
Oh no.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you recall? Because I don't either.
Thanks for the $5, Dana.
Absolutely. Caradog rocking the Wolverine facial hair. That is what I've ultimately kind of decided upon with that. It's very much first X-Men Wolverine, isn't it?
I mean, like, Wolverine didn't invent the mutton chops, but
no,
yeah.
But
however, I legitimately, I think it's a good look. And I think it looks good. I think you should keep it.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We're going to jet. I've enjoyed this conversation in English. Bye.
Goodbye.